At the QEO, the sun just poking its head out. We've had showers throughout the earlier part of the morning. Both sides are set. The second choice ruckman to go up in Miller and Watson. Well, it's the old equation, isn't it? Win and you're in. It's pretty simple for both of them, South and Sandhurst. We're underway in round 15. Watson won it down. Connaughton chased after it, and Coghlan, as he so often does, takes it away from the Dragons. His handball forward was cut off by Nick Howe, who dangerously switches to Hindle. Collins bearing down on him, gets a handball away around the corner to Wright, who kicks down the outer side wing for Miller. So the Bloods with the football. Miller about faces, then kicks up toward half forward. Big fly from Ireland over the back. Came in over the top of Harvey and took a good mark. And now the Dragons come back defensively to East, who thumps it up the middle.
He thumps it towards Lockie Ross. We like him. He's halfway between the centre and half forward. Now he goes deep into the forward line. It's a long, hard lead by Thornton. Hits him on the chest. And directly in front, he'll line them up from 35 metres. So good bit of play by the Dragons there, Dolly.
Great bit of play, and Thornton starting closer to goal and had room to lead into. Very good kick to him. Now the hard part, kick the goal.
Bear Thornton, Matty Thornton. Norm Jenkins picked this actually.
Yes.
The big bear playing close to goal. He'll cross the chalk mark of 50, kicking to the city end, the scoreboard end. Let's have a look what he does with his footy. He just bunts at it and puts it straight through the middle. First major for the afternoon goes to the Dragons. They are 1 goal straight, 6. The Bloods are yet to score. It is 1.5 minutes into the opening term, thanks to Aussie Disposals on Big Footy Bendigo's Fresh FM.
I like here where South, even they're playing into a fair breeze. They've started with just 6 in defence. They're not looking at the loose man as such.
Yeah, playing some positive footy both sides early. Good transition from the Dragons though. East kick down the middle was beautiful.
It was.
Really open forward line structure there for Thornton too. They got all the half forwards up on the front edge of the square and only Collins in front of him. Here they go again, the Dragons. Watson to East, East to Thornton. It's the same combination, and Matt Thornton marks in front of the scoreboard, 25 out, with a chance to get exactly the same results.
Yep, 2 minutes in, could be 2 goals, Joel.
Perfect start for the Dragons. Beautiful ball movement. Again, it was Watson in the ruck, and we know what a great kick Zach East is, and he's showing it early. So Thornton kicked the opener only a minute ago. It came from transition. This is straight out of the middle for the Dragons. Thornton comes in from 40 metres out. The low kick is away to the left. Never really liked it off the boot. And it's only 1 behind. Sandhurst 7, South Bendigo yet to score. 2.5 gone in the opening term, thanks to Kangaroo Flat Storage on Bendigo's Fresh FM.
Didn't look confident there, Dolly, did he?
No, he didn't. It was a tougher kick than the first one he had, but probably the ball drop wasn't that great in gusty conditions.
Nick Howe now for the Bloods. He'll send it to the outer side of the ground. He'll be looking for Jake Miller. Well, that's a strong contested mark. I reckon he's in the middle of the pack. It's a teammate. In fact, he grabbed it, Rogerson, so very strong. He'll go short by foot. It's gone barely the required distance. A foot past a Hare, who's come into the team this afternoon. He's deep in his defensive zone. Outer side wing, he's really unsure. Now you'll decide to drive it long, hard up against the line. They fly. Ireland got hands on the football for the Dragons, and they see it over the boundary line. Zach East, who's had a lot of it, just stepped over the line and will have another ball in. 1-1-7, the Dragons. South Bendigo yet to score. 3.5 in the first on Bendigo's Fresh FM.
I'd like to see East busy early, Dole. He's such a good user of the football.
He's really creative, and of course up against a club he played for, South Bendigo, a few years ago.
Absolutely. Bartels has been adjudged to have thrown it out in the tackle, so free kick coming to Lee Coghlan, centre wing outer side of the ground for the Dragons.
Ominous signs here, Joel, I think.
Again, those half forwards push up, and Thornton leads long, so Coghlan kicks long. Thornton sets himself. This time, no. Nolder did well at ground level, but the ball spilled out the back. Ross tried to get a flying boot to it, didn't connect. Eventually, Green forces the ball up. And we'll have a stoppage 20 metres out from the Dragons' goal. They're pressing and they're pressing hard. They've had all the inside forward 50 entries and they've got all the score. They lead by 7 points.
Strong breeze here to the good of the Dragons. We're in their forward zone. Bloods need to be very careful here. Receiving a handball was Rogerson. He sends it beyond 50. He's got to play in Whelan. He'll go to the wing. Oh, it's a poor kick. Good contest forms. Ireland was in amongst it. Dragons here with another chance. Still 70 out from goal. Some sloppy footy outer side of the ground. Wharton is there's Joel. And a free kick has been paid for incorrect disposal will go to the Dragons. So Wharton with the footy. He won't go now longer to left footer. His intended target was McKinley. Comes to the back of the pack. Thornton's there, 30 out from goal. It was clever tap in the direction of Montague. Puts it on the boot, but it went wide by an absolute country mile. Out of bounds on the full, and a penalty free kick will go. Talking about soccer there, Dolly, will go to the Bloods. Norm Jenkins.
Yes, boys, look, Wayne would be wrapped with the way the Sandhurst pressure is at present. They got 2 and 3 to the football all the time.
So Hindle kicks in from the last line and finds Rogerson, who stands at the top of the defensive goal square for the Bloods. Chips to the scoreboard pocket. Dangerous kick set Bartels a task. McKinley shoveled it out. Wharton through the traffic, taken by Sheehan and gone. Good tackle from Jaden Sheehan among 2. He and Hindle. Joel Wharton had nowhere to go. And it'll be a Bloods free kick. Hindle, it will be, to take it from in front of the scoreboard. Gets on the right boot. It's an awkward ball drop, and it's going to be a free kick off the ball, I think, and going to the Dragons. So back towards centre wing where Ireland and Miller were tussling.
50,
and now it is going to be 50.
Probably some back chat, I would think.
Yeah.
It's in fact coming to Joel Wharton, the football, so maybe even paid downfield. Otherwise, it would have been Ireland's kick.
The ball's South Bendigo play.
So it'll be Wharton who will take the free kick.
Defending player, I think, Joel, was Whelan. He seems to be the one that's got a guilty look on his dial.
Good kick is Joel Wharton on the left boot from 45. He left that a long way to the left. Only just snuck in 4 behind, and now the goal umpire's not even sure that it was and hasn't got the all clear.
Yeah,
so
after the all clear.
Just waits for the signal and then says only 1 behind. The Dragons 1-2. South yet to score. 6.5 gone. Opening term. Thanks to Choices Flooring, Bendigo Bulk Carpets.
Sheen for the Bloods. He touches the ball on his boot. Then he runs his measure. He'll send it again wide to the outer side of the ground. Now contest at ground level. They're off half-back. Howe here for the Bloods. An awkward-looking ball to half-back. He was looking for Hindle, who took a mark. But, geez, they look nervous across half-back here. Their kicking is poor. It's at the ankles to a teammate to the outer side of the ground. Sloppy bit of play that heads towards the boundary line, and we'll have another throw in. So
No, head on the full.
On the full there,
On the
Dolly.
full. Yep.
I think the wind's playing a little bit of havoc here with the Bloods.
Yep, and some panicky kicks too from, you were spot on, John, some panicky kicks.
There is the wind. Looks like it's just going towards that scoreboard pocket. Green in the centre of the ground. Tees it up. Thornton came crashing through. Got McKinley, only his teammate. Then Ross gave it to Wharton, and Alex Wharton was brought to ground, adjudged to have not got rid of it correctly. So a free kick on the last line comes to Highwood. The Bloods work it outside the defensive 50. Miller between half-back and the wing on the outer side. Wants to move the ball now. Down the outer side. Leroy Miller kicks long. Bartels in the pack. First grab, second grab, no, but he got it at ground level and fed it out to Connaughton, who was run into the turf. Terrific tackle. And it'll be a free kick going to the Dragons. He was Lockie Zimmer who was in on the tackle. Very nice defensive work. And now the Dragons will go inside defensive 50. It's South first inside 50. But it's still under control of Sandhurst, and Green's got it at centre-half back.
He'll send it back to Ireland. Short kicks across half-back here, which is pretty safe at the moment. Holmes with the football. Oh, they're going to lose it here. Contested footy. Good backing up by Arthur Rucci across half-back. Sends it by hand there to Ireland. He couldn't grab it. Still in half-back, and a free kick has been awarded
it's going
to the Bloods.
Going to Whelan because for some high contact against Rucci.
Yeah, that play all set up by Burton Smother.
Yep.
It was a brilliant smother and got the ball going South's way.
They seem to have control there, the Dragons, for a considerable time, and then just mucked it up. So the Bloods with their first opportunity for a goal through Whelan, kicking to the Barnard Street end. This is no gimme here because he's kicking into a pretty strong breeze. Goes close to the man on the mark. Long high ball. Holds back in the breeze. It's straight, however, and goes through for their first major of the afternoon. So the Bloods go to 1 goal straight 6, trailing by 2 behinds, 1-2-8, 9 minutes in the first, thanks to Kangaroo Flat Storage, as we take you inside local sport on Bendigo's Fresh FM, and this is the voice of Nathan Dole.
Well, for all the dominant Sandhurst have had, South are only 2 points behind, so Brady Childs would be wrapped with that their defence has really been under the pump, but doing well.
So it's certainly been good, Nathan, and Bendigo's certainly in for the fight today, and I think, as I said earlier, this is going to go down to the wire.
Absolutely. Good start from both of them. Ball back in the middle. Miller and Watson renew acquaintances in the ruck. Watson down to Wharton, left foot kick, quick inside the 50. Thornton out the back, McKinley in front. Great mark, falling down to his back. And he's able to take it 25 out. He'll get a quick answer for Sandhurst.
Another quick centre break. Sandhurst really doing well out of the centre so far, Joel.
We know what a prodigious talent this kid is. He's already taken mark of the century this season. Last time we saw him here at the Queen Elizabeth Oval, he bopped up with 3 that day. McKinley comes in here, he's poked at it, but he's poked at it straight. And it is another goal to the Dragons. They're 2-2-14. Their lead is 8 points. We've played 9 minutes in the first term. That is thanks to Kangaroo Flat Storage on Bendigo's Fresh FM, Dolly. It's a really good answer for Sandhurst.
It is, and for all the defensive setups the teams work on nowadays, you get a quick entry like that. There's not a lot defenders can do, but a great mark by McKinley, one-on-one, and you called it really well, Joel.
They're getting found out in the ruck here. I reckon they're really missing Strawn.
Yep.
Miller, it's Jake doing the ruck work. He's just hasn't got the technique of Big Strawny.
And he's not a ruckman.
No, that's right. He won the tap on that occasion, though, Joel.
Oh.
Geez, the umpire went over again there. That could be controversial. There's contest through the middle. Montague did well. Handball to Wharton. He's going to be pinged. Incorrect disposal. Didn't get his foot at the ball. They're away now. Handball received from Connaughton. However, umpire says
around the mark.
You've got to come back, and he will. That's Mitch Hocking. Now, Hocking will come laterally to Howe on the wing. Broadcast side. Small pokey kick, which was effective to Whelan. Long way from home. He'll drive it inside forward 50 to the Barnard Street end. They'll set themselves up. They go in the ruck. Good defensive work, Dragons. Ireland's had a heap of it. Gives it to a teammate in Price. Price will come to Green across half back, and they'll relieve the pressure here, Joel.
Green's been important early.
Yes.
Had a bit of the footy. Gets on the trusty left, drives a low ball to half forward. It's a lovely kick for Coughlin, who was infringing the marking contest, and will get a free kick as Blair Whelan a little bit overzealous. Coughlin handballs off to Collins. It's a great combination. The kick to Thornton wasn't quite there. McKinley at ground level, 20 out from the Dragons' goal. They fight for the football. Connaughton, nearly taken. Handball back to Sheehan. The Bloods will get out of trouble through Wright, who kicks to the scoreboard pocket, and Hocking, underground ball, cut off by Wharton, who shovels it back to Green. From a standing start, Seb Green around the corner. It was a clever kick. He found McKinley, who couldn't handle the football at his bootlaces, and now the Bloods will work it out through the McGee to the outer side wing and finds Leroy Miller.
Miller with the footy. They're looking nervous with the ball by foot. The Bloods just need to steady it a little bit. I think the wind's just not quite working with them. Now it's a long ball, dumping it long. Price, rear of the pack, took a strong set mark. He's only a small man. He comes laterally. Good pass there to Minari, across half back to Green. He's everywhere. He's in the middle. Now on the left. He'll drive it long inside forward 50. Oh, strong hands. McKinley couldn't quite drag it in. East, he picks it up. Coughlin now picked it up. He received the handball. It bounced once and he puts it straight through the middle. Awesome kick there by Coughlin. That's Lee Coughlin, who pops another one through for the Dragons. 3-2-20. The Bloods 1 goal straight 6. 13 minutes in the first, thanks to Choices Flooring, Bendigo's bulk carpets, as we take you inside local sport on Bendigo's Fresh FM.
Normie, Seb Green coming off for what's a very well-deserved rest.
Look, Seb Green's been in everything there, Joel, and Sandhurst, to their credit, they've got more players to the football, more players to the drop of the ball, and it's making it a lot easier getting the ball forward.
Moving the ball in a really dangerous fashion at the moment, the Dragons. This is when they look at their best, and they found it early. Watson from the restart wins it down. Holmes goes after the football once, twice, was held. So a little bit of ill discipline in the middle for the Bloods, and the skipper for the Dragons has got the free kick. High ball inside the forward 50. Thornton gives chase. It'll sit for him. Nolder leads him to the football, though. Paddles it out in front of himself. Does well, gives some ground. Looks for Wright by hand. Can't find him, and when the 50 intersects the boundary, at right half forward for Sandhurst will have a ball in. It's been all the Dragons early. 14 gone first term. 14 is their lead at Sandhurst 3-2. The Bloods 1 straight.
Umpire hurls it back in. Ruck work by Miller of the Bloods. Contest at ground level. East is there. Oh, working hard at ground level was Rogerson. He's done well. They'll send it beyond 50. Umpire lets it go. Held without the footy, however, was Brereton. And Joel, I just sense at the moment the bag is open. The bag is open.
She's gone very early with that.
Oh, I just got that feel about it at the moment. Receiving a handball was Highwood. He was at the back door. Sends it up onto the wing. Intended target will be Leroy Miller. Handball to nobody. Ineffective. And now the Dragons are going to bring it back the other way.
Well, they might do, but not for too long. Brereton's there to cut it off. Handball was knocked down by Dole, Watson, McKinley, and they've got a chance now, Sandhurst. Warden feeds it back to Dole, to McKinley under pressure. Gee, it's frenetic stuff. They're flicking it around the Dragons, but the South Bendigo pressure's been good on centre wing on the broadcast side. Miller's kick smothered. Ricochets back to Coughlin. That was John Coughlin to Dole, who gives it up. Howe, Rogerson. Gee, there's been 20 possessions in about 20 metres of space. Brilliant tap inside from Harvey. Got it to Miller, who kicked to the top of the square, and Johnston. But the numbers are with the Dragons in defence. O'Sullivan shares it with Rootsy, who flicks the handball to a running Ireland, who kicks outside the defensive 50. It's a lovely ball, and Angus McKinley comes into the centre for East.
East now, he's looking to go. He's got Green deep in the forward zone. He's found, a little bit too severe. 30 metres out, 2-on-1 contest. Green did extremely well. Good hard tackling. And unfortunately, he's given away for one in the back. A little overzealous, and Howe will receive a free kick for the Bloods. Deep within his defensive zone. He'll go short by foot to Whelan. Whelan, broadcast side. Little nervously, he'll pop it up. It's okay in the end and finds Highwood. Off left half back. Short pass by foot. Finds a hard leading Tommy Brereton off left half back. He'll send it long down the wing.
Well, wasn't too long. He just sort of chipped it towards his two big men there who flew in, Miller and McGee. Neither could mark. Comes to Collins for the Dragons, who chisels one to half forward and East. And well, Zach East could just about go the journey from here. He looks up. He sees in the pocket. He's got Zimmer leading for him. Good play, Dragons. Nice find from East. Zimmer's got it in the Lee Coughlin pocket. 40 metres out to the right of centre. And doesn't elect to tuck the mouthguard into the boots. He just chucked it on the ground. So we'll have to make sure, no matter what the result is, that he goes and picks it up. Otherwise, he could have an issue or two.
I don't even know why they do it. Just leave it in your gob, wouldn't you?
Kicked a couple of weeks ago, did Zimmer. He starts this left. It's working. It's working. It works its way home beautifully. He picks the mouthguard up, chucks it in the hand, and gets some high fives for his work. Well done, Lockie Zimmer. 4-2-26 Sandhurst. 1 straight 6 South. The margin 20 points at the 17-minute mark of the first term. That is thanks to Choices Flooring. Here's Nathan Dole.
Yeah, well, Sandhurst are getting the ball in the hands of what probably their best kick in their team in Zach East.
Yep.
4 goals for Sandhurst so far. He's been in probably 3 of them, setting play up.
I'm a glass half full man, Dolly. The bag is open, but the Dragons have got a breeze, which is probably 4 or 5 goals. So let's just see what this brings us. Bear Thornton's doing the ruck work now. He gives it by hand to Wharton. Wharton will go long. Collins is up forward. Too severe for him. At the back of the pack, Joel Wharton had a fresh airy. They track it toward goal. It's still within play, only a metre out. Under extreme pressure here, the Bloods. Code did well. Handballed along the line. Still 30 out. A slap to a teammate. It looks like Coughlin. He's put it around the body and has popped it through for his second. Just the weight, the sheer weight of the pressure of the numbers of the Dragons. They go to 5-2-32. The Bloods 1 goal straight 6. 18 minutes in the first. Thanks to Kangaroo Flat Stories as we take you inside local sport on Bendigo's Fresh FM. No, I was going to say then, Normie Jenkins.
Yeah, thanks, John. Interesting to note there that due to not being able to rush the ball through for a point, South Bendigo kept it in play, and in the end it was to their detriment.
You're allowed to rush it through if you're under pressure, though, Normie.
Well, you are, but they tried to get it away. They probably...
You could just rush it through. In local football, there's no deliberate behind rule for local football. It's only AFL, so you can just do whatever you want with it. But maybe the awareness not quite there for the Bloods on that occasion. Ball back in the middle. It's worked into another stoppage just toward the broadcast side. So 5 for the Dragons. Coughlin with 2 of them. And a couple of opportunistic ones, and we're not quite in time on yet, thanks to Tintercar. Well done from Coughlin to Holmes. Inside the 50, looking for Collins. It gets over the back, and it trickles out of play in the right forward pocket. It was Thornton who won it down in the ruck, so a couple of their key operators combining there. And they'll get another chance inside the forward 50 as we've got a ball in.
You need a good player on Collins as well up forward there, Dolly, don't you?
He's dangerous. He's got Brad Wright, South's best defender.
Yeah, and he's playing really close to the goals. The umpire hurls it back in. Doing the ruck work was McGee. They need to be careful here. Howe tried to grab the football. He was under pressure. 38 metres out deep. And the umpire decided to ball it up. The ball was probably out in the end. Holmes just pushed it out, but we'll have another ball up. So broadcast side in the pocket, the Rifle Brigade pocket,
Wrong pub.
Railway Hotel. I thought I was back at Castlemaine. As Holmes at the bottom of the pack, doing some hard work. The Bloods now, long kick to half back, and I reckon they're in a bit of, well, they're probably lucky to get away with it, and Leroy Miller takes it.
Thought you'd slide your personal sponsor in there.
Yeah, I haven't had a beer there since the war either, Joel.
Here's Miller. This is Isaiah Miller, who got it from Leroy Miller. Kicks outside the defensive 50. Highwood couldn't mark. The pacey Lockie Zimmer was at his feet. Drove it back inside the forward 50 for the Dragons. Collins had 2 to beat. Again, it trickles to the right forward pocket. Lockie Ross gives chase, can't keep it in. And a ball up 15 around from the Dragons' goal. Just ticked into time on in this opening term. Thanks to Tindercar, the time on clock on Bendigo's Fresh FM. Boundary umpire spins it back into play. Ross goes up in the ruck for the Dragons. McGee down decisively. Miller put his head over it. Couldn't get the football out. Wright appeals for a free in there. Nothing coming. And at the top of the goal square for the Dragons, we'll have a ball up.
Brady Childs will be looking for the siren, I'd imagine, for this opening term.
And blood rule, it's going to be, surprise, surprise, Blair Holmes, who's going to need a bit of patching up.
I reckon I called him at the start of the game as being influential, and he has been in this opening term. At the bottom
very
of the
good. He, Coughlin, in the middle of the ground, east.
Yeah, the old firm as such.
Yeah.
In terms of stoppages, Sandhurst are dominating, and it's those guys doing it.
We haven't seen Price and the like yet, because they haven't even got the ball down there.
Not very often.
Haven't needed their halfbacks.
Yep.
As we just wait for them to reset themselves, Lee Coughlin comes into the forward zone. Umpire now will throw it up. Really congested here in the forward line for the Dragons. Thornton does the ruck work. A lot of players around this footy. Umpire will have to do it all again. So Sandhurst, 5-2-32, leading the Bloods, 1 goal straight 6, 21.5 in the first. This is Bendigo's Fresh FM.
I like this, the Dragons. Repeat stoppages, more chances to score inside the forward 50. Clever tap from Thornton to Wharton, who took it down to ground level. Then Thornton shoveled out the handball and a high tackle on McKinley. And so it'll be Oscar McKinley's free kick on a 45-degree angle to the right. He'll have to kick from about 25. And this would really make it a difficult first quarter for the Bloods.
Dragons are back in town, Dolly. I can just feel it, I'm telling you. Feel it.
No, let's wait till half-time after South have had
They've
the
been
breeze.
impressive in this opening term.
They're playing some great footy.
As is this man of recent times. McKinley comes in. Gee, he poked at that one nervously too.
It's off his shin.
And missed it to the right. 5-3-33 Sandhurst. 1 straight 6 South Bendigo. 22 gone in the opening term of round 15 at the QEO. That is thanks to Aussie Disposals as we take you inside local sport on Bendigo's Fresh FM.
It was Cale Hooker style there, Dolly, wasn't it, in front of goals? As Isaiah Miller touches the ball on his boot. He runs, then sends it long. Look at that ball hold up in the breeze. Thornton has there got hands of it. He provided a contest. Now 50 out from goal still. A lot of players around this ball. Doing some hard work in there as Rogerson, who's been okay, but the umpire decided to ball it up. 33 playing 6, 27-point margin, 23 minutes in the first. Up they go in the ruck. Thornton wins the tap. Again, a lot of players around this ball. And umpire crosses his arm, blows his whistle, and we'll do it all again. 27-point margin. It is the Dragons.
Closing in on quarter time. 23 gone in this first term on the time on clock thanks to Tindercar. The Bloods with the clearance here. Connaughton high around the body. Hoists it into the breeze. Miller brought it to ground. Price was in there for the Dragons. Code by hand for the Bloods. To Whelan, to Rogerson, who tries to get it out toward the wing, and Harvey. Ruff right there with him. 2 young guns battle, and Ruff's the better of them. Got it back to Collins. Now to Price, who just gets the kick away inside the 50. McKinley read it okay. Sheehan got hands to it, though, to Hare around the corner for the Bloods inside the defensive 50, who paddles it and then kicks it along the ground. McKinley throws himself at the footy, then threw it out. And so it'll be a South Bendigo free kick. There's no doubt about the Billy Slater hand pass there from McKinley, who had one arm pinned and had to try and get rid of it somehow as he got to his feet. So the free kick will come to Tom Brereton just inside the defensive 50 for the Bloods at left half back.
He's been pretty good, and that ball holds up in the breeze. Unbelievable as they fly. Dragons come again. Wharton put it in the direction of Lee Coughlin, socketed it out of the air into the forward 50.
Free kick.
Free kick will go to the way of the Blood. So they're being a bit careless here, the Dragons. It's Code with the football in his defensive arc, which is the city end. He'll now send it long to the outer side. He's got to play a break from a bit of held up in the breeze. It was Rogerson who's done well. Gives it by hand there to Sheen. Let's see what they do with this footy, the Bloods. They'll drive it long to the outer side of the ground. Balnave's got a fist on that one for the Bloods, and we see it over the boundary line. Swimming pool side, 33 playing 6. Sandhurst by 27 points, almost quarter time. This is Bendigo's Fresh FM.
So it's smack bang on centre wing on the outer side, where the ball will be brought back into play. Miller with the front spot, couldn't win it down. Bartels to Rogerson for the Bloods, kicks to half forward. Leroy Miller gives chase, did well to pick it up down low, then crashed into Holmes, who shoveled it out to Price, and he got it out to Rootsy. Rootsy kicks to half forward where John Coughlin operates. He cleared the space for McKinley, who runs on, gets to 40, fires and misses again to the left-hand side on the left boot. In fact, out to the right, that one. 5-4-34 Sandhurst, 1 straight 6 South Bendigo. 25 and a half gone in the opening term, thanks to Aussie Disposals on Bendigo's Fresh FM.
Nolder. They're swapping the kicking around here from full back, probably because none of them want to do it because it's holding up in the breeze. A short kick to Hare, who's coming to this side late this afternoon. He'll go back deep, not quite a reverse horseshoe, but we're working on it, and sends it in the direction of Connaughton, and it was out of bounds on the full. So they've mucked it up here. It is Lee Coughlin with a free kick. 38 out from goal.
He's capable of kicking the goal from here.
Yep, bit of breeze behind him.
Yep.
Few can kick him from the scoreboard pocket, but Leroy's certainly one.
And the big gum tree behind him is just swaying gently in the breeze. He now pops it up to the goal line, and it's through! Few can do it. Good call. The boys in the box. 6-4-40, the Dragons. The Bloods are 1 goal straight 6. 26 in the first, thanks to Aussie Disposals, as we take you inside local sport on Bendigo's Fresh FM. Norm Jenkins.
Yes, one thing I've noticed in this quarter is that when Sandhurst get out and move the ball, South Bendigo looks slow, and that may well be because they're running into the wind. But, the South Bendigo boys look as though they're finding it very difficult to get to the football.
Running into the wind, there's a new one.
Norm Jenkins on the boundary.
Next he'll be saying they're running uphill.
Yeah.
It was perfectly prognosticated by you, Dolly, that Lee Coughlin kick.
Yeah, well, if you call them enough, you've got to get it right once, don't you?
Law of averages will come off eventually, won't it? Back in the middle, Miller won it down. The Bloods with a chance to come out of the centre. He kicks it inside the 50 after he got it back from Coughlin. Does Jake Miller to Johnston, who juggles the mark. 45 metres out, he'll be right on his journey. Then he poked a horrible-looking kick inside the forward 50. Whelan came out to meet it. He was brought to ground. 30 out from the south goal. A free kick will go the way of the Dragons on the last line. It was Highwood, in fact, who came out to meet it, and Ireland, who is going to take
sloppy.
the free kick. Gee, his handball around the corner was poor. Good enough to come away with it was Collins, and then his kick outside the defensive 50. Well, not quite in the end because it was marked by Brereton. 48 metres out from goal, centres it up. It held up in the breeze as Ireland tried to cut it off. Then Harvey took the football for the Bloods. 40 metres out, tumbles it to the square. Bartels marks, plays on goal. Bloods with their second, and it's an important one, closing on quarter time. They're 2 straight. The Dragons are 6-4, the margin 28 points at the 28-minute mark of the opening term, thanks to Aussie Disposals.
And a great kick by Brock Harvey. Fair way out, but kick to the square, and reward for effort there by South.
So Liam Bartels, he's a good player. He's come back into the middle of the ground.
Leading goal kicker on the season for them, the Bloods, with 26 now.
It's against the flow, wasn't it? And against the wind.
Yep.
Must have just dried up a little bit there, the breeze, because they were certainly running into it. No problems there, Normie, as Connaughton in the middle of the pack has got a free kick for a hold. Didn't have the footy after that ruck contest. Connaughton, he's going to have an influence as well. He'll send it wide, and he finds Jake Miller. Jake Miller will now send it inside forward 50 to a hard-leading Johnston, who takes it on the chest. 48 out from goal. He's pretty tight angle here in the club room's pocket, the newer club room's pocket, the South Bendigo pocket. As we just see what he does on the swimming pool side. He went to go and then decided to come back again and straighten up. He'll cross the paint mark of 50. Didn't like the approach. It's a bit of a hop, step and a jump. It won't make the distance. It goes to the line. Up they fly. They'll set themselves as it tracks and in fact hits the behind post and it'll be out of bounds, and we'll have a throw in deep in the forward zone for the Bloods. 40 playing 12, it's the Dragons, and we're almost quarter time here at the QEO on Bendigo's Fresh FM.
I'd love to pinch another one here, the Bloods. You sense they're probably the only team that can score with this amount of time left. Watson goes over the back, wins it down. Rogerson from the contest to Connaughton, who ran back into Wharton, was tackled to Bartels, who's tackled by Holmes. Some fierce stuff in there. Still 40 metres out from the Bloods' goal, and we'll have another ball up.
And you'd think they'd need one, Joel, because there's rain imminent.
So ball will be thrown up 40 metres out from South Bendigo's goal. Miller wins it down. He's opposite number 14 for the Dragons in Holmes. Gets a long clearing kick up the wing where the Dragons might be led in. East just battles his way for the football. Then Hindle threw his head over it. McGee dropped it in the tackle. Came out to Zimmer. He dropped it in his tackle. Eventually it's a South Bendigo free kick, and from the centre of the ground, Isaiah Miller comes wide looking for Hocking.
Oh, it was a poor kick. Montague's at the back of the pack. He'll shark it. He got one, push in the back by Hocking. The umpire didn't agree. Just lucky to get away with it, I think. But anyway, we'll have another throw in. True centre wing position. Broadcast side. Grandstand side. Cool conditions here at the QEO. As was calling for a free kick and wasn't given for a hole where was Jake Miller. Umpire let it go. Tracking the ball in the middle is Lee Coughlin. It was a hard handball in the direction of Minari. It was too hard, in fact. Couldn't get it. And the siren blows here at quarter time. So it's the Dragons 6-4-40 and South Bendigo a 2-goal straight. 12. And interesting start to this. Really good team effort in the first term.
What about for the Bloods, Dolly?
I thought Tom Brereton across halfback competed really well, was winning a fair bit of the football. Liam Bartels always competes really well, and I thought Charlton Hindle made a good start to the game. But now it's the pressure on South to really hit back and use the breeze.
That it is. They do have the breeze at their back, so they do have a little bit of a margin to eat into. It's 28 points as we go into the second term. Again, it's Watson down in the ruck directly to Holmes, who was thrown off it by Bartels. The Dragons come away through Wharton, but his handball was stolen by Coughlin. Connaughton, in fact, it was to Brereton inside the forward 50. Coming out to meet it was Rootsy, 30 out from his defensive goal. Handball to O'Sullivan was nervous. Then Price to Dole was nervous as well. Eventually to McGee, who was dragged down in the tackle by Zimmer. Ball spilt free right at the last moment. Coughlin, that was Lee Coughlin, got it out to East, to Holmes, so they combine once more, but a terrific smother coming from Brock Harvey brings the ball to ground. Brereton chases it towards the boundary line, where it trickles over at right half forward. A kick and a half from the Bloods' goal. We'll have it balled in.
Well, it's a strong wind, a 4-goal wind here at the QEO. Let's see what the Bloods can do with it. They've got it in that forward zone. I say it's a 4-goaler. So the Bloods now, they'll have possession. It comes out in the direction of Isaiah Miller. He couldn't effectively dispose of it. Cody Price intercepted it. Holmes, his handball was wayward. Now they dive on top of the footy. Isaiah Miller at the bottom of that pack again. He's having a pretty good game.
What would it be if it was 8 goals?
An 8-goal win.
Would it be an 8-goal tornado?
Yeah. Well,
That's sort of cyclone territory.
We're getting up, pretty well up there, I reckon, Joel, as the umpire throws it up again, and another bounce. Right on 50 here, attacking to the city end.
Is that the cyclone warning?
Yeah. Someone's trying to steal a car in front of us as the umpire throws it up again. Watson and Miller do the ruck work, and again throw a blanket over a number of players here, and the umpire will throw it up. 6-4-40, the Dragons. 2 goals straight, the Bloods. Almost 2 minutes into the second on Bendigo's Fresh FM.
I reckon the Dragons would be pretty happy just to close the game down and try and restrict South ball movement here. Watson wins it down over the back. Belnaves is led in, had to get rid of it. Eventually knocked over his own teammate in Connaughton. Nothing coming out of that. Another ball up, 52 out from the Bloods' goal.
We're stuck here at the moment, Joel, aren't we?
2 minutes gone and we've gone absolutely nowhere. A big fella down on the boundary line there. Tim Martin might not mind being able to clear something out of this. Miller wins it down for the Bloods. Eventually comes through Green, who gives some ground back inside the defensive 50 to Zimmer, to Ireland, back to Zimmer. Now they can work it outside the defensive 50. Good kick, Lockie Zimmer. Shows some composure. Then got it to Coughlin, who drives it wide to East. Sitting under it, O'Sullivan, couldn't mark, has to go back in on top of the football, shovels it out to Ruff, who tried to get it to Rootsy. Now Highwood for the Bloods, to Whelan, turnover again, and Ruff handballs to Green, and now to Holmes, and the Dragons come through the middle.
Oh, it was a poor handball. It was intercepted there by Bartels, who'll send it long and high. It went about 80 up into the forward zone. Bloods here with a chance. Receiving a handball was Belnaves, puts it around the body, bouncing ball into the goal square. And it just did a leg break as opposed to an off break, and it was a minor score. 2-1-13 the Bloods, 6-4-40 the Dragons. 3 minutes into the second, thanks to Aussie Disposals on Bendigo's Fresh FM.
So Mitch Dole in the back pocket, unusual position for him, kicks outside the defensive 50, and again we see it hold up in the wind. And it is Miller who's got the football for the Bloods. Jake Miller tees it up, top of the square. Harvey in from the back. Rootsy brought it to ground. McGee got a handball away. Johnston will give chase to the pocket, paddles it out in front of himself. Belnaves goes after it, thrown off the footy, then goes back and gets it. Connaughton puts his head over it as well. Ruff, though, was good for the Dragons. Picked it up and shoveled it out to Price, to Coughlin, who gets a high ball on the right boot. Down the wing, it'll sit for Ross. And the third quarter specialist works his way to the front of the pack and marks just the defensive side of centre wing on the outer side of the ground. 4 gone, second term. Bloods with the only score on the board, but it's just a minor. The margin 27 points.
Ross will go short to Holmes. Sent it extremely wide onto the wing. So Blair Holmes now will compose himself. He'll go short by foot to East. Only barely went the required distance, so still sitting on the outer side wing. Another short pass. They're over-possessing the footy here. Now it's Holmes. He received a handball and sent it long inside forward 50, looking for Collins. Bouncing footy, 40 out. Collins is out if he can pick it up. He does. Oh, he's made swings, spins onto the left. Clever, composure. It'll get shepherded through by Thornton, and it's a goal. Well, the class of Collins there. To go around the body as the boys are having a little bit of a to-do off the ball. The Dragons 7-4-46. South Bendigo 2-1-13. 5 minutes in the second, thanks to Kangaroo Flat Storage, as we take you inside local sport on Bendigo's Fresh FM.
Yeah, I was thinking there, like you were saying, John, that they were over-possessing, but they worked it really well into their forward line. And yeah, Collins able to finish well under pressure. So.
Yep, absolutely. It was a good finish and good awareness from Thornton on the goal line to smother it, or shepherd it through as well.
Yep.
A little bit of push and shove between Green and Nolder. Not a lot in that. And they come back into the middle of the ground. Here's Highwood for the Bloods, who takes it out from the restart and paddles it forward and then has to go in again. Never really got a clean possession on it. Holmes just dives in on top of the football, but Brereton threw himself on it. Zimmer tumbles one up towards half forward for the Dragons now, and Collins is there once more. Paddles it to Coughlin. That was John Coughlin. Then back to Collins. Underground kick toward half forward was picked up neatly by McKinley, who goes to ground and absorbs some high contact and will get a free kick right on the 50 at left half forward. Thornton's going to lead to the pocket. He comes shorter than that. He sits it up for Bear Thornton, who had 2 to beat. Comes to the 4. Wharton rows beautifully, tumbles it, bouncing. But it didn't come back quite far enough to the left. Just through for a behind.
Let off for South Bendigo there, sort of Wharton on his own. You don't want that inside 50.
Can't allow him to come back toward the goal side. 7-5-47 the Dragons, 2-1-13 the Bloods. 6 gone, second term on Bendigo's Fresh FM.
Isaiah Miller for the Bloods. You'll bring it to the broadcast side. Geez, he kicks it long and high and strong, looking for Bartels. Also flying in support was Jake Miller. Jake Miller takes the mark. He's on right half back. He goes short to Whelan. Whelan now, defensive side of the wing position. He just stabs at that ball by foot, and luckily to claim a mark or a free kick to his teammate, who now just gives it back by hand. It's a long ball inside forward 50 by Blair Whelan. 30 metres out front and centre there was Rogerson. He'll put it into the pocket looking for a teammate. Who did well was Johnson at ground level. He dishes it off to Rogerson. Rogerson will have a flying shot at goal, but it's poor and goes across the face, and it will be, in fact,
out of bounds on the full.
Out of bounds on the full.
I reckon he just got in two minds then whether to try and screw it around the corner or centre it up to Harvey in the pocket.
Yep.
And he did neither. He
One.
split the difference completely.
He did.
And unfortunately for young Mitch, it was out of bounds on the full. So the Dragons let back in. Coughlin's kick, not good, uncharacteristic. Miller stole it for the Bloods. Kicks a high ball around the corner. Torpy in from the back, flew over Collins. It's knocked down toward Island, who was happy to see it through for a rush behind. 2-2-14 the Bloods, 7-5-47 the Dragons, 7.5 gone, second term as Price brings it back in. Lovely kick to the scoreboard pocket. No, did it float out as well? It did. McKinley was pretty confident he had marked that. And it'll come to Rogerson again. This is a much tougher assignment from the scoreboard pocket, Johnny.
Yes, Rogerson, well...
No, he'll kick the goal.
Oh, here we go again, Dolly.
Yep.
Let's just see what he does. It's going to go close, but not close enough. The Bloods... Yeah,
should have stopped at the first one.
You should have 2-3,
Rush of blood.
The Bloods 7-5-47. The Dragons. We've travelled 8 minutes into the second, thanks to Aussie Disposals, as we take you inside local sport on Bendigo's Fresh FM.
So Price will bring it back into play for the Dragons. So reliable with this very duty. Brings it back in and finds Oscar McKinley. In fact, that's Angus, the elder of the brothers. So Angus McKinley drives it outside the defensive 50. It bounced off Joel Wharton's back and then came to Blair Holmes somehow through the traffic. He got it to Zimmer, who runs across the defensive 50, kicks down the line looking for Ross. Oscar McKinley it was that time who floated in front of the pack. Ball spilt to Hare for the Bloods. Worked back now to Howe, who goes around the corner. East charging in off the bench, couldn't stop Hindle from marking. Then he kicks short for Whelan, who goes inside the 50. Not a great kick, but it'll sit for Harvey, who has to do a bit of work at half forward. Bounced off the shin of O'Sullivan as he went to ground. Over the line, it'll be thrown back in. 49 metres out in the Lee Coghlan pocket, or the Rifle Brigade pocket, depending on what Leroy's goal-kicking form's like. 7-5 are the Dragons, 2-3 the Bloods. It's a 32-point margin, 9 gone second term.
Umpire fires it back in. Collins is lurking, as is Bartels for the Bloods might have... Well, it didn't have the footy, but the umpire let it go on. Ended up with Connaught, and he goes short by foot and finds Hare, who's been pretty good. 70 out from goal. He'll now send it inside forward 50. It's long and it's wide. Belnays, 48 metres. Can he pick it up? He can't. Numbers are with... It's Coghlan. Probably dropped that footy. It might have been slippery, and he did drop it. Umpire agreed, and defensive work by Belnays. As a forward, you love to see that goal, and he's going to have a shot at goal.
Yep, second effort. Yeah, it was great to watch, but again, this is the hard part, and it has been for South for quite a few weeks. They're kicking for goal, so oh no, he's passed it off.
He has to Rogerson.
Gets another crack.
The rain was almost horizontal at that point in time when he kicked that footy, so I say just sit it up into the goal square and let the wind do the rest.
Yep.
But Rogerson, it's a long way out from goal. It's raining here at the QEO.
A little bit of breeze will help, though.
Get out there, Norm Jenkins.
Seen that he
Earn
can
your
get
money.
the journey.
Rogerson. He has sat it up there. The wind takes it wide and lucky to score. 2-4-16 the Blood, 7-5-47 the Dragons, 10.5 in the second, thanks to Aussie Disposals on Bendigo's Fresh FM.
When they've locked it in for this long, they need a little bit of reward for it here, South. They might get another crack. Miller comes over the top and thumps it back inside the forward 50 from the kick in. Hocking goes through, can't take it with him. Then Watson for the Dragons, shoveled it out only as far as Isaiah Miller. Terrific tackle, Blair Holmes. That was absolutely textbook from the Dragons skipper, and now Miller's hatching the footy and doesn't want to give it back to him, so Blair has to physically throw him off the football and say to the former Sandhurst under-18 player in Isaiah Miller, I think you would be wise to give the football to me. Or similar meaning in maybe not those terms, as now Collins kicks down the line. He can't find his marker either. Hindle did well to smother it over the boundary line. And right in front of our broadcast position, it'll be thrown back into play. 11 gone, second term. Sandhurst by 31 points here. In the other games, they are all big margins. It's Golden Square by 5 goals, Eagle Hawk by 9 goals, and Strathfield Say by 6.5 over Castlemaine.
Montague picks up the football and he'll run to the wing. He bounces the footy. That was cheeky in the wet weather. He'll send it long inside forward 50. He's got 2 players on. Coughlan's one of them. Thornton is a second. The ladder. He handballs it. Oh, wasn't an effective handball. Cody Price was good enough. By hand to Collins. Cody Price short to Wharton. That's Joel, who they've moved it back into the middle of the ground and just set up like a chessboard. I'll tell you what, Dolly, the man Collins, he's BIT today, back in town after an injury. He's back to his best as Thornton leads hard and receives a mark 51 out from goal. Thornton, too far out to score against this wind.
Oh,
Oh,
gee.
he's bunted it. It's an ordinary looking kick. Don't know how to describe it apart from that. The Bloods, they send it to the outer side wing. It's Harvey. He fumbled a ball. Slippery out there now. And the Dragons are good enough and they'll short pass it to Green.
Yeah, O'Sullivan it came from. Green now plays on, runs through the outer edge of the centre square, kicks up towards half forward. Well done from Hare. Knocked it away from John Coughlin, who came back in on top of the football, threw himself at it. Hare went again though. Did well, did Zach Hare to Miller, who thumps it toward half forward. Torpy was never going to get to that contest. And Watson where the ruckman should be. Kick behind the play. And they can work it back the other way now, the Dragons. Here's Coughlin to Ruff, sold him into trouble. Ruff flicked it over the head towards Montague, who now gets to centre half forward, goes inside the 50, and Collins back toward goal. He backpedalled and marked. Andy Collins is 45 metres out, wheels around and goes straight off the side of the boot. It went further sideways than it did toward the goal. It's actually almost gone outside the defensive 50 and he was having a shot. Eventually it's picked up by Bartels, who gets it to Hindle, and he drives it down the outer side wing and finds Harvey. That was bizarre from the Dragons.
Harvey, he's telling his players to lead up. He's looking for somebody in the goal square. It's a 3-on-2 for the Bloods. Johnson, handball, wasn't effective at all. 51 metres out from goal. Hocking did well by hand. He gives it to a teammate in Rogerson. He sends it to the goal square, but there's nobody home. It's Ireland of the Dragons. He goes short and he finds Alex Wharton.
He's just way too slow on that occasion, Johnston, unfortunately. Couldn't get the handball away. They were in there, the Bloods. And now the Dragons can come back the other way. Here's Minari, another one of the players who's traded jumpers between these two sides. There's been a few of them out there today, Dolly, between Highwood and Miller, and Pascal Craig would have been one had he been playing.
Zach East.
Zach East, 4 or 5 out there between these two clubs. Just be about the biggest, I guess, the biggest sacrilege in the football between these two clubs, wouldn't it, playing for the other?
Yep, and I think Strawny, if he'd been playing, would have been another one. So
absolutely. So the Bloods have won a free kick at half back and they'll send it back up towards half forward. Ball skittles the pack. Ruff collected the wet footy. Handball to Watson. That is not good in wet weather. You don't definitely don't handball to the ruckman. He was put under big pressure, but Ruff was good enough to go back and get it. Eventually to O'Sullivan. Now the Dragons under pressure at halfback. Ruff flicks it out once more. Minari goes in, goes to ground, collected, tackled, and a ball up at true centre half forward. South Bendigo into attack.
I like the effort of Minari then too, Dolly. Underneath the pack, he just really dived in after it.
He did, yeah. It's interesting watching today. Mitch Dole playing a lot in the back half for Sandhurst.
Yep. Who's going to adapt the best to the conditions? The rain has now stopped.
Yep.
Cool conditions here. These are the days you're glad you no longer play, Dolly. Probably for about 5 minutes or so. You get one right in the face and then you'll know about it. Cold and wet conditions as Watson does the ruck work for the Dragons. We're across half back for the Dragons. Again, we've got a stoppage in play and the umpire will ball it up. So, state of affairs here is the Dragons 7-5-47, South Bendigo 2-4-16. The Dragons need to win this game to keep their finals aspiration alive. And the umpire's paid one for a kick in the ruck contest. So, don't know about that, Joel, but umpire agrees and Watson's going to take the free kick.
So Lockie Watson will take it. Centre half back, gets on the left boot. It's a high ball to the outer side wing as the rain just clears momentarily at least. Going through the pack was Whelan. Came out for the Dragons though. Leroy Coughlin kicks it inside the forward 50. East gives chase. He'll pick it up 45 metres out from goal. Wheel around, drive it low inside the forward 50 and a sliding mark not taken by Coughlin, who was called to play on. And then Jason Marr says, boys, I'll have it, and a ball up. So adjudged to have hit the turf. The Hawkeye was out there from the umpire and looked like it was a line ball. A ball up 40 metres out from the Dragons' goal. Miller wins it down for the Bloods. Eventually it comes out. Kick was touched off the boot, so Hare has to play on. Clever little one around the corner to a running Whelan, who goes out wide for Torpy. First grab, no. Price over the back with the second grab, knocked it away. Hocking for the Bloods, tumbles it towards half forward and finds Miller, who's tackled by Coughlin, just got it away. Then Holmes got in the back of Whelan. Didn't get a free kick for it, Blair Whelan. Coughlin did well, though, at ground level for the Dragons. Shoveled it out to Dole, and he finds Montague at half forward.
Montague, he's had a few possessions here. He's got a player breaking for him on half forward if he wants to. He ignores that now. He'll send it deep inside forward 50, but that was a poor kick. And intercepting mark there by the Bloods. They'll bring it through Mitch Hocking. Short pass. He's looking for Bartels. He was good enough. He fumbled the ball, but was good enough to pick it up. Runs his measure. Oh, by hand.
Handballed
It's
it
a
to
slippery,
himself.
he
Oh,
did.
no.
Slippery ball. He was looking there for Hocking. They're going to get away with it. A give over the top to Miller. Good smother there by Coughlin. That was Johnny Coughlin. Now 50 out from goal for the Bloods. The numbers are with the Dragons, and Johnny Coughlin picks it up and drives it to the wing.
Tom Brereton injured for the Bloods too. Copped a hit on the shoulder and doesn't look a particularly well boy. As Torpy's thrown over the line by the third quarter specialist, Lockie Ross will have a ball in centre wing grandstand side. It's scrappy stuff at the moment, Dolly.
Yeah, it's pressure, but a lot of the 1%ers, which coaches love, whether it be a smother, shepherd, block, whatever it has to be, both teams are doing it really well. 1
goal for the quarter in 18 minutes of football, and it's Marsbar time, according to John Hunter. The Dragons go inside the forward 50. Here's Collins. Zimmer tried to keep it in. Did it go through for a behind? It did. The ball just slid away from him. And so it is 1 behind to the Dragons. Scoring's been few and far between for both sides in this term. 48 plays 16 at the 18-minute mark. And the Bloods have finally got it on the outer side through Miller.
Jeez, they've moved it very quickly. It's in the direction, looks like Harvey out there who's taken a mark.
This is the problem.
He's got a player breaking for him into the goal square. Brereton, you've got to go there. Up he flies. Big punch defensively. Dragons did well. It was rough. And we see a minor score. So Dragons are now 7-6-48. South Bendigo 2-5-17. 18 in the second, thanks to Aussie Disposals, as we take you inside local sport on Bendigo's Fresh FM. And I was only just advertising the fact that the Dragons are looking after us here this afternoon with the catering there, Joel.
That they are. Marco Farrell, as usual, is very, very generous with the supplies. As we were at Kyneton last week, the Tigers looked after us magnificently. Here's Rootsy in the back pocket for the Dragons to high up and under kick. Thornton got there, couldn't take it. Ground level footy, Minari can't bring it back into play. Goes over the line. Be thrown back in the scoreboard pocket, in the left forward pocket as we approach time on in this second term. Was there a feeling around the Dragons, Norm, that they wanted to lock it up a bit in this second term and slow the game down?
That's what Wayne wanted. Wayne wanted the game locked up. He wanted it played on their terms and keep the ball in tight as much as possible.
We're in the forward zone here for the Bloods. Congested play. Umpire tried to let them get them out, but so often happens in wet weather. Didn't happen.
Say just about mission accomplished as far as that goes for Sandhurst in this opening term. They've really, really slowed the Bloods' ability to win the footy around the stoppages.
The rain has had a market effect as well there too, Joel. So just need to see which team will steady the best here. Thornton gave it off to a teammate, which is okay, and they drive it down the wing. And a diving mark will be Collins, who's starting to bob up everywhere. Outer side wing with the footy. He's got wet hair, wet jumper, wet socks and wet boots. The last couple of kicks of his were absolutely poor with the wet ball, so let's see what he does with this one. This one's okay, goes long and high. Holmes for the Dragons, it's the bottom of the pack. Rogerson's at the bottom of the pack as well there for the Bloods. He always is there. Holmes now picks up the footy. He's tackled hard. Umpire says you didn't have a chance to get rid of that footy, and we'll ball it up. 48 playing 17. It is the Dragons, 21 minutes in the second, as we take you inside local sport on Bendigo's Fresh FM.
So ball will be thrown up on the outer side wing. Thornton thumps it forward for the Dragons. Keeping it in there was Wharton. Socketed along the ground. Green was there. He tried to handball it back into play, but it went over the line beforehand, and it'll be thrown back in, right half forward for the Dragons. Goal to South in these last couple of minutes, 1 or 2, gives them a little bit of belief. And for the Dragons, it had really sort of stamped their authority on this opening half. Miller goes up in the ruck for South Bendigo. Whelan is there at ground level, can't come away with it. Again, a big pack around the footy, right as it comes out of the last minute. Jason Marr calls for a ball up 48 metres out from the Dragons' goal. King to the Barnard Street end. They've got the only goal in the term, Sandhurst. They kicked 1 goal, 2. The Bloods have only added 5 behinds, the margin 31 points.
They'll be looking to pinch one here against the wind here. The Dragons, strong tackle again by Holmes, and brings down a player who is at the bottom of the packs as well in Rogerson for the Bloods. The umpire will throw it up 49 metres out from goal. Up they fly. Thornton does the ruck work in the direction of Collins. Collins will pick up the football. A little give to Green by hand. Collins by hand, sharing it around to Ruff. Over the top now, it was Holmes. He goes to a teammate in O'Sullivan. It's the Dragons. Long inside, forward 50. Howe's under pressure. He dropped the footy. I reckon it was red hot. Probably didn't have much of a chance at it. And I reckon he was unlucky there, Joel. But umpire's right on the money, and he's given the free kick to Lockie Zimmer.
And he wasn't giving it the footy up easily, was he? Lockie Ross had to go in there and slap it off him.
It was a red-hot ball, but umpire's right on the mark, so let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Zimmer to kick another one against the wind here at the QEO. It's poor, hits the post, slammed into the post, in fact. Sandhurst go to 7-7-49. South Bendigo 2-5-17, 22.5 in the second, thanks to Aussie Disposals on Bendigo's Fresh FM.
Wouldn't write home about the goal kicking in this term, Dolly.
No, we've only had one, but hitting the post, I reckon you should get 9 points for that.
9? You reckon it's a degree of difficulty proposition?
Much harder to hit the post than put it through them.
So, there you go. Maybe something for the AFL to look at. You never know. Meanwhile, the Bloods work it toward half forward, but Price is there to cut it off. Familiar combination with Holmes, who gives a give and go to Alex Wharton, then thumps it inside the forward 50. Off hands to Green. Is it a free kick coming to the Bloods or advantage? I think it's a South Bendigo free kick and 50.
It's going to be 50 now.
Yep, so it was a chop of the arms against Hare, and then Zimmer ran away with the footy and put it through. But the free kick was going the other way, so Zach Hare will take it and get 50, which should take him to the centre of the ground, Dolly.
Yeah, he was the only one who didn't hear the whistle.
Yep.
I reckon
and I think he did, because he looked back, but he still thought it was a Sandhurst free.
Yeah.
And so Hare will take it from the middle of the ground. 23.5 gone on the time on clock, thanks to Tindakar. He kicks it inside the forward 50. Good strong mark taken by Montague. And they've moved forward, Brad Wright forward here, the Bloods too, to try and get something going. Montague shares it wide and finds Price in the back pocket.
Price directs traffic. Now he turns and goes. He'll send it laterally to the opposite side of the ground, looking for O'Sullivan, who is now on the outer side, runs defensively, side of the arc, and then puts it up onto the wing and finds a teammate in Wharton. That's Alex.
Worked hard to create that then, the Dragons. They had nothing on, and Wharton doubled back on a pretty long lead.
Typical modern day footy, wasn't it, Joel? As the long kick goes to the wing, contest forms ground level. Joel Wharton is there, slips it out underground almost to Dole as we're on the wing here. Now they're good enough. Wharton offers support and he'll drive it long looking for Thornton. Thornton flies high, outer side wing. Bloods, bottom of the pack, goes to nobody in particular. It's all the Dragons and they're just coughing it up both ways here. Umpire will have to throw it up as Jaden Sheen just slides in with his knees into a pack, and we'll have another ball up. Outer side wing, 49 playing 17, 25 minutes, almost ticked over in the second, thanks to Aussie Disposals on Big Footy Bendigo's Fresh FM.
Joel Peterson, John Hunter, Nathan Dole, Norm Jenkin here with you at the QEO in round 15 of Bendigo footy. Blair Whelan's legged from the contest and will take a free kick between the centre and the outer wing. He kicks up towards half forward. Torpy out the back. Dole went past it. Ruff picked it up inside defensive 50 for the Dragons. Good handball to Joel Wharton, who finds McKinley, defensive side of centre, plays on, gets around one, got around the second as well, then dropped it on the left boot. Lovely kick for Thornton, who flew high. Nolder got there, well, pretty late, but just in the nick of time, got it to Hocking, and now the Bloods are away. Connaughton looks up, 70 out from goal. Lovely kick. And it was the right option. Brad Wright's got it, 35 out directly in front.
And that's experience for you. Connaughton, he had plenty of time to look and sum up where to kick it to, but a lot of South's forwards 50s, they've been rushed and Sandhurst have had numbers back and been able to pick a lot of those passes off.
Brad Wright sucking the big ones too, Dolly. Have a look at him.
Yeah.
Working hard in this term. To say they need this is an understatement. The margin is 32 points before the kick. Wright comes in from 35 metres out. He lets it go, and he's able to find the answer for the Bloods.
No, it's touched.
In fact, it's touched. The goal umpire, he looked like he was signalling 4 points. He touched on the mark.
Get the camera out.
The mark, yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
7-7-49 Sandhurst, 2-6-18 South Bendigo. They've missed them in all manner of ways. 26.5 gone in the second term, thanks to Aussie Disposals on Bendigo's Fresh FM.
Cody Price unusually brings it to the broadcast side. They don't usually come this side kicking out from fullback city end, but they did on this occasion. Finds Montague. His defensive arc of 50. a short little pass that was cute and effective. It finds Joel Wharton. So Joel Wharton still defensively in his zone.
Coming off the ground there, looks like a neck complaint.
As the siren sounds to complete the first half here at the QEO at Sandhurst, 7-7-49. They are leading comprehensively at the moment to South Bendigo 2-6.
For this second half, a lot of work to do for South Bendigo here, Johnny. A lot of work to do. They've got to clamp down in the middle, just not allow the easy movement of stoppages from the Dragons. They've also got to find a way to get a score on the board. They've got to make up a 5-goal margin. That's what the Dragons lead by as we get stuck into this second half of football in this all-important clash in round 15 at the Queen Elizabeth Oval. Bartels throws himself at it again, and this time it's East, who comes steaming out of the stoppage for the Dragons, kicks to the forward pocket. It floats over the head of Thornton, who was never really much of a chance. Looks like he's drawn Adrian Code as a matchup in this second half. The ball will be thrown back in the right forward pocket. Only 23 seconds gone. So, as we saw in the first half, the Dragons go straight inside the forward 50 with the opening ball up of this second term. Nolder watching Collins. It's thrown in. It falls almost short of the ruckman. Well done from Thornton. It was roved perfectly by Wharton, who just bent it around the corner a little bit too far on the left boot, Joel Wharton. And only one behind. 7-8-50 Sandhurst. 2-6-18 South Bendigo. Minute gone. Third term thanks to Aussie Disposals. 2 stoppages, 2 clearances for the Dragons. It's worrying for Brady Childs and the Bloods.
Nick Howe now kicking the footy. He does a lot of this for the Bloods. He'll bring it short into the pocket. He'll bring it down the broadcast side. It'll be Sheen, but no, Sheen, nevertheless, as I call it, he'll go back laterally to the opposite side. Made Zahere work for it. He was good enough. Then he picked it up and kicked it beyond 50. He was looking for Mitch Hocking, who's had a lot of it. It's a low dart ball to the wing, but he's kicked it to the opposition player in Rough. Rough couldn't mark it. Bounced off his chest. Good enough here, the Dragons. They'll maintain possession. Picked up by Mitch Dole. Mitch Dole, a high, long ball in the direction of Lee Coughlin on half forward. But the Bloods across half back. They'll need to be neat. They are. Blair Whelan. He'll now send it wide to the wing. Finds a teammate that was okay to Miller. Miller now gives it to a teammate who'll drive it long. That was Mitch Hocking, and the ball has just been intercepted, and it is all the Dragons.
Yeah, Luke O'Sullivan stood his ground. Now switches across the goal face to the grandstand side for Rootsy, who comes outside the defensive 50 and puts it straight down the throat of Bartels. So Liam Bartels for South Bendigo from the turnover. They need to make something of it. Kicks short to Miller. Isaiah Miller's got it. Still 2 kicks from home. South attacking to the Barnard Street end in this third term. Comes wide and finds Hindle, who's between the grandstand wing and left half forward. Again, doesn't see a lot that he likes long, so goes to the pocket over the head of his teammate in Harvey, and Bartels has got there and taken a good mark, and it's within scoring distance from him, because he is a very good long kick of the football, but he's in the left forward pocket 45 metres out and starts his approach tied up on the boundary to the left. A teammate wandering around there, and it looks like Alex Highwood, who's just standing next to him, making his way back around to start this second half. So Bartels, it's a tough kick. He aims it and fires and hits the right-hand post. Just faded across the goal face there from Bartels. 2-7-19 South, 7-8-50 Sandhurst. Margin back to 31-3 gone third term. Dolly?
Yeah, I'd like to see South. I'm not sure if they've had a lot of run past, run and carry the ball. Look, I don't think a South player today has taken it on and bounced the ball.
Dragons have moved it quickly to the outer side of the ground on a half forward. Tracking the ball was Collins, who's seen it over the line and will have a ball in. So quick bit of movement of the footy there by the Dragons to put it up forward. Why wouldn't you when you've got a win behind you?
So they have shifted some of those matchups around. Code's now gone to Thornton. Nolder's still on Collins. And Hare's got Ross in defence for South.
Let's see what they can do here, the Dragons. It'll be Watson up in the ruck. He jumps early. Couldn't get a hand on the footy. Still at ground level. Coughlin's in there working hard. We're going to be all bound up again. We'll have another throw up. 70 out from goal.
Up the other end, it looks like Rootsy's got Wright, who's deep forward. Belnaves is on Price, and Johnston, at the moment at least, is on the bench.
Left half forward, 60 out from goal for the Dragons, kicking to the city end. As congested bit of play again. Umpires are allowed to go on. Whelan is there for the Bloods. Just still 70 out from goal. Zimmer for the Dragons. He dived and give it there by hand to Dole. Dole now a long, strong left footer into the hot spot. There, Thornton takes a chest mark. Fumbled it in the end, but he had enough of it, and the umpire said, "That'll do me, son. Have a kick at goal," and he'll pop through another goal, which will be his second. But it seems like he's kicked more than that, Joel, but has had a number of shots at goal.
They've had plenty of shots, a lot of them. Good work from Zimmer in that stoppage again. Been important for them today, the Dragons.
City end. Matty Thornton directly in front. He'll have to kick through the football and doesn't.
Wow.
Out of bounds on the full, off the side of the boot.
Clearly
Major
been
shank.
Spending some time with Andy Collins at half-time.
Well, probably the classic. He took it a bit easy in my mind. Wet ball, so the score remains unchanged. 7-8-50 Sandhurst. South Bendigo 2-7-19.
Not reaching any great heights here at the QEO, especially the goal kicking from either side. As Hare brings it back into play. That's a good, long, strong kick through the hands of Nolder. McKinley threw it out. Oh, Bartels, strong, ripped it away from Angus McKinley and then kicked down the line for Harvey, who goes inside the 50, looking for Brereton. Couldn't quite get there. Was he tunnelled? He was. Just got a shove from O'Sullivan. So Brereton will take the free kick, 35 out directly in front. There was the take-on of the game, Dolly, that you wanted to see from the Bloods.
Yeah, they listened to me. Take it on, and Thornton's miss could it be the turning point of the match.
Do you class this as a 12-point turnaround?
Oh,
Would you like that?
Absolutely.
18 points, given they're playing into such a strong wind.
All right, fair enough, Dolly.
Big kick for Tom Brereton, who was so good in the opening half. Comes in from 40 metres out on the right boot. It's working its way back. It's just snuck home. And it's a very important goal for South Bendigo. Their first since quarter time takes them to 3-7-25. South Bendigo are 7-8-50. The margin is 25 points at the 6-minute mark of the third term, thanks to Aussie Disposals, Norm.
Yes, and that was good work by Bartels there. As Nathan said, he took the play on, but I've noticed this quarter that South Bendigo players are prepared to do a lot more running than they did in the first half. They're getting numbers to the football and making better use of it.
Code to do the ruck work now for the Bloods. He's in the middle of the ground. Up he flies. He just roved his own ball. Then it was socket to half forward in the direction of Balnoves. He gives it by hand to a teammate, which is okay in Miller. Miller fumbled the ball, however. 40 out from goal. He still maintained possession. It is Hocking who put it on the boot. It was an awkward-looking kick to a teammate who now drives it in the direction of Brad Wright, who's deep in the forward pocket, but it'll be out of bounds on the full. 25-point margin, it's the Dragons, and they are kicking with the wind in this third term.
Looks like Alex Highwood's going through some kind of sort of fitness test down on the boundary, just making sure he's right to can make a delayed return to the second half. And free kick coming here at a mark. Is it going to be paid to Harvey, who looked like the man in front? It will be. It will be paid a mark to Harvey. So Brock Harvey's got the football on the outer side at right half forward for South Bendigo. 65 metres out inside the forward 50. Lovely kick. Gee, Connaughton, did he just get there? Got the arms chopped, and it will be a free kick. And Aaron Connaughton has got the football. Big fans of umpires, aren't they, Sandhurst fans? So Connaughton's got it. He'll have to kick every bit of about 45 metres. Sheehan runs past just to give him an option. But the skipper's going to take it of his own accord from 48 metres out. It's a high ball. It'll sit up right to the goal line. They fly off the hands there of Hindle, who, in fact, Wright, who couldn't bring it down to his boot. It trickles out in the right forward pocket, and it will be thrown back into play. 10 around from the Bloods goal. They're pressing here for their second of the quarter. They trail by 25 points, 8 minutes gone.
Code to do the ruck work. A lot of people around this football. He was held. He tapped it in the direction of Harvey. Balnoves is there as well. He grabbed the footy only 5 metres out from goal. Under pressure here, the Dragons worked nicely. There was Holmes. Gives it to a teammate who slipped it out to Wharton, who banged it on the boot. In fact, it's gone out of bounds on the full. 40 out from goal, and South Bendigo will have a penalty free kick.
You wondered whether Balnoves would have been better maybe just shepherding Harvey through there.
Connaughton had a short leading player. He honours the lead, and that player is Rogerson. Rogerson, 40 out from goal. He kicks it long and high, looking for Code. They fly. Oh, it's Bartels, who's taken a big grab, has he?
Yep.
He has. Just flew from nowhere, and those big arms.
No, it's going to be a free kick going to Leroy Miller.
Oh, gee.
Oh, no, that's robbed for Liam Bartels.
Yep.
should be able to go back and take his kick.
I reckon he should have the option.
Yep.
He's marked it. He should be able to say, yeah, I'll take the kick, or hand it over to the other bloke.
I'm not going to call this one, Dolly, because there's been some shocking kicks in this game. Leroy Miller, 10 metres out, directly in front, against the wind. Barnard Street end, sits up in the wind, but it goes straight over the umpire's hat and pops it through. So they worked hard, 2 in a row, if I'm not mistaken there, boys. The Bloods are 4-7-31. They are trailing the Dragons 7-8-50. We've travelled almost 10 in this third term, thanks to Choices Flooring, Bendigo's bulk carpets, as we take you inside local sport on Bendigo's Fresh FM.
I'd suggest, Dolly, when Liam Bartels wants a beverage after tonight's game, it's Leroy's shout.
Yep, and I'm not sure whether Wallace has got to that bag or Normie has, but I think it's been open.
Open again.
I think the bag might be open.
I think it is.
It's the special fancy zip or whatever it is
whatever
that
it
is enclosing the bag.
Yep.
Might have just snuck a jar.
Yep.
They'll have the wind in the last term too, the Bloods, so let's see what happens.
Let's see what the Dragons can do from this position. Watson wins it down. Bartels comes steaming out of the middle with a bounce. He runs to 65. He measures it inside the 50 for Wright, who couldn't mark. It was thumped away by Ireland. Montague picks it up. That was a really neat pick-up from Rootsy at half-back, who copters one down the wing towards East. And Ross, it'll sit for the third quarter specialist, who runs to 40 and finishes beautifully. There's your answer. The Dragons come back the other way with force. And Lockie Ross lives up to his moniker. Takes the margin back to 25. 8-8-56 Sandhurst. 4-7-31 South Bendigo. 11 gone third term. Thanks to Bendigo Bulk Carpets on Fresh FM.
And a dejected Bartels walks back into the centre. I think if he had his time again, he would have gone long with that kick and put it deep. South Bendigo did have a player back, but he tried to honour the lead, and in wet conditions, you're better off going long.
Back into the middle. I like Code in the middle. He's starting to have a little bit of an influence. He's that tall, gangly player who'll do the ruck work against Watson for the Dragons. The umpire throws it up. Code wins the tap, did well. They'll dive in after it. Connaughton did well. Rogerson offering support, but Collins with class won the football, then lost it. Picked up there by the Bloods, and that would be Rogerson. Rogerson puts it inside forward 50. It's a one-on-one contest. Price is there. We know he'll be composed. Ireland offers support. Back to Price along the ground. It was just tapped along with his toe, and it finds the boundary line. We'll have a throw in 30 out from goal.
Yeah, Cody Price just showing then why he's such a valuable player. Didn't panic. Played it brilliantly.
Absolutely. Ball thrown back in. Left forward pocket. In South Bendigo into attack. Spinning back into play and a hold out of the ruck contest.
Wow.
Is it going to Code or Brereton? It's going to be Adrian Code who's going to take his free kick on a slight angle. He thought about handing it off to Miller, and now he's just going to go back and have a shot. So he's have to kick from 45 here, Adrian Code. He does hand it off to Miller. Miller gets around one, loads up, kicks into the man on the mark in the end. It ricochets to Whelan, who goes back now, hocking into the pocket. Little ball for Connaughton. Gee, it was hard work there for South, but Aaron Connaughton's got it. He's no closer to goal than Adrian Code was, but he is on the opposite side of the ground and doesn't look comfortable in the journey whatsoever. He's already kicked one in this term from the same spot that's fallen well short. So he's going to have to look to lay it off or hope that Bartels can fly in and take another specky in the pack. He chips it up to the top of the square. Up they go. This time Harvey had it thumped away from him. Back toward goal for the Bloods. Hindle goes in, puts his head over it. Was he taken high? He was, says Jason Maher, who's the out-of-zone umpire. And a free kick
Good
is going to Hindle.
It was
30 metres out, directly in front.
The binos on it then, Dolly. That was there for sure.
It was, and good umpiring. I like that. You know, the umpire closest to the play can't always see what's going on.
He
so
was absolutely
excellent
blindsided too.
Yep.
So Hindle has the opportunity to again find an answer for South and bring the margin back to 19 points. Not often he's up this end of the ground, Charlton Hindle. From 30 metres out, he shows why and misses away to the right. Margin 4 straight kicks. 8-8 Sandhurst, 4-8 South Bendigo, 14 gone, third term on Bendigo's Fresh FM. That is thanks to Aussie Disposals.
Ireland will bring it to the broadcast side beyond 50. You'll look for Thornton, a big fist on play, however, by Code, who's having a bit of an influence in the ruck. I said it earlier, I like the fact that they've brought him up the ground. Good work by Brady Childs, the coach, thinking outside of the square. Code or a double fister might have been a throw. Umpire didn't agree. Thornton was there, couldn't grab it. Picked up there by Sandhurst Dragons player who puts it in the direction of Coughlin. Coughlin now, drive it long inside forward 50, looking for Thornton. He's out. Will it sit for him? It doesn't. He's got the footy. An awkward looking give. It was okay to East. East around the body towards goal, but it's too far. Bouncing ball. And doesn't even score in the end, but good work, Dragons.
Would have been a miracle to bring it back from there, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but I like their work, and now it'll be the Bloods who'll relieve through Hocking, I reckon, out there.
He's in the scoreboard
just
pocket.
Calm down for a little bit there. Got excited.
That ball didn't go out of bounds on the full, but clearly it did, as Hocking copters one outside the defensive 50. Hindle probably lucky not to take the legs completely out of Wharton there. Inside the defensive 50, gee, the Bloods are under siege here. Brereton to Miller to Hocking, and now they work it out. So it came from 20 to 9 to 29, and then Nolder down the line. His kick was taken away. Now Nolder's 42 and he's kicked it to Ireland, who's 13, which makes 29. So if you're playing along with the numbers game, that'll all be making sense to you. Here's Liam Ireland just forward of centre wing on the outer side of the ground, thumps it inside the forward 50 through the hands of Thornton. Out the back, Hare can mop up for the Bloods, or comes back towards goal. Now goes to Rogerson in the Rifle Brigade pocket. In defence here, South Bendigo. Good kick from Rogerson. Finds some composure. He goes to Sheehan, who switches it to Howe.
Howe now, outer side of the ground. Howe now, how do you like that one? Howe now, brown cow.
Brown cow.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an awkward looking kick beyond 50. I reckon it's out of bounds on right on the line.
Boundary umpire was right on it.
Mitch Hocking, right half back, right hard up against the boundary line. He'll bring it into the corridor. They like bringing it in.
Got to go now.
Wow, they like bringing it in the corridor. It's a dangerous ball. They're going to be okay. Ends up with Hare, who was at the back door. He now puts it on his boot, finds the teammate, sending it wide to the wing, broadcast side in Hindle. Hindle will now look for the corridor again. This is obviously their type of game, and finds Whelan. He's almost in the middle of the QEO. Whelan to half forward. It's an awkward looking ball, looking for Harvey. Going through hard. There was Dole. He did well, and he puts it into the direction of Holmes. So
Holmes goes inside the 50, straight down the throat of his opposite number 14. Miller marks for the Bloods. Turnover footy at the moment, both sides. 16.5 gone in the third term. Bloods trail by 24 points as Whelan chips it short to Hare, who's on the paint of the defensive 50, and now Blood rule's going to be against Isaiah Miller, who's going to have to leave the ground. And this is good for Sandhurst because it just gives them a chance to set the defence, and after the game's been in a really frenetic period for a couple of minutes, Norm, maybe they can try and find some normality here.
Yes, they have. We've found South have been more composed this quarter. They've used the ball better than they did in the first quarter, and they've run it well into the wind, and they've certainly made it very difficult for Sandhurst, and they're back in the game. So
here's Hare, comes short towards the broadcast position and finds Hindle. Hindle kicks the grandstand wing, looking for Harvey, who gets in there and got the arms chopped. Brereton, in fact, it was, who's been very good in this game. Wheels around on the right boot, goes up towards half forward. Torpy had 2 to beat, brought it down to ground level. Teammate in there was Rogerson, tackled, dispossessed, but a ball up. 55 out from the South goal at left half forward.
See what they can do here. Wouldn't they just love to get another one against the breeze? They'll have the wind in the final term as Howe picks up the footy, then lost it, hands and knees. Handball to Connaughton. Connaughton now, long high ball inside forward 50. They fly front and centre. That was good work by Wright, who'll go around the body towards goal. Bouncing footy. It's bounced the right way and it's a goal. Sometimes you win them and sometimes you lose them. But that one was an absolute beauty. Just bounced in the wrong direction, or it depends who you are, the right direction for a Bloods player. So here we go. The Bloods are 5-8, 38. They are trailing Sandhurst 8-8, 56. 18 minutes into the third. Thanks to Aussie Disposals as we take you inside local sport on Bendigo's Fresh FM.
And you can see the South Bendigo boys are now gaining in confidence. They're prepared to use their teammates and give their teammates a chance.
Well, they've done it all against the breeze so far, and this time they might come out of the middle once more. Code won it down. Holmes took him on. Good tackle from Adrian Code against the Sandhurst skipper. Came out to Joel Wharton. High up and under kick. Rogerson. Geez, been good this afternoon. Had a brilliant season, showing why he was such a valuable recruit for South Bendigo. Shares it out wide with Code, who just sold Holmes into trouble there. Completely made him look like the Queen Mary while he was turning around. Here's Brereton, handball off to Sheehan, and now to Hocking at right half forward. Mitch Hocking, he's got pace to burn. He lines them up and kicks a goal. The Bloods are back in town. Margin 12 points.
That's goal of the day. Not just the finish, but the way they set it up. Yeah, Code going into the middle has made a huge difference to the game. But again, just running, just taking the game on.
6-8-44 South Bendigo, 8-8-56 Sandhurst, 19 and a half gone in the third term, thanks to Kangaroo Flat Storage.
Yes, it could be interesting in the last quarter. Will Sandhurst get stage fright going against the wind?
Yes, and I say it, it's a 4-goaler in my mind, so look out, don't go anywhere for this final term. Under pressure here, the Dragons. Lockie Ross, he just hit the pack, hit the ball hard. I reckon he got one on the chin.
Should have got a free.
He's out, is he? No. Oh, geez, it's...
Bartels, who just copped him one as he went through there and just making sure he's okay, which is good to see, but probably should have got a free there, I'd say, Lockie Ross.
Just forward of centre now for Sandhurst. They're up against it at the moment. The momentum is with the Bloods, and Code wins the tap again, wins the football, bangs it on the boot to half forward. Bouncing footy. He's been impressive. You've got to go a little bit harder than that. Leroy Miller, he didn't, but they've still got the numbers through Rogerson. Rogerson picks it up. Tried a cute little handball, which is no good to Leroy Miller. And they're going to be awarded a free kick. Minari for the Dragons, and he's got it off right half back.
So Minari wants an option now on the grandstand side. 20 and a half gone on the time on clock thanks to Tinakar in this third term. The Bloods have kicked 4 goals. They're only 4 goals since quarter time. Ross has got it, looks up, sees Price, who battles with Balnaves. Nolder did really well. Got it to Balnaves by hand to Connaughton for the Bloods. The skipper down the grandstand side wing to Miller, who has to pick it up at his bootlaces. Has 2 to beat, seeks the safety of the boundary line and finds it. And it'll be a throw-in, smack bang on centre wing on the grandstand side. Fair few of the Sandhurst fans who've been watching maybe a bit too much AFL, hoping for the deliberate rule. Could not be more centre wing than this. Boundary umpire stands directly between the interchange gates. Throws it back in. Thornton won it down, but it was sharked by Rogerson, who kicks to half forward. Leroy Miller brought it down to ground level. Montague steams through for the Dragons, tumbles it back the other way. Connaughton nearly cut it off, then slid in on hands and knees and got it out towards Hocking, who was tackled by Holmes. He's kicked for half forward, eventually with Torpy, and now to Sheehan. Sheehan inside the 50. Highwood got there, knocked away by Dole, did well. Highwood's second effort though, handball finds Ireland, now back to Highwood, still inside forward 50 for the Bloods. They might get away with this one though, the Dragons, they do, with Minari and now Green at half back.
Green on the left, he'll look to bring it in board, he'll look for Holmes. Holmes takes a mark, he's on the outer side wing, now he turns to go. He's looking for a one-on-one contest, he's got it. It was unfortunate there that Lee Coughlin lost his foot. They track it towards the boundary line, and well disguised by Zach Hare, who stepped over the line deliberately, let's be honest, and 38 metres out from goal, we'll have another throw in. I'll tell you what, big Leroy Miller looks a bit slow too to me up there in that forward zone, but they're just getting the job done.
Still competing hard, isn't he though?
Rain starts to fall now. Code probably got one in the back. Umpire didn't agree. We're only 38 out from goal for the Dragons. A lot of congestion around this footy. Picked up by Lee Coughlin. He put it on the outside of the boot to try to make it swing towards goal. It doesn't, and it'll be a minor score. Sandhurst, they go to 8-9-57. South Bendigo 6-8-44. 23 in the third on Bendigo's Fresh FM.
Rain starting to fall again. Gee, the move of Code into the middle has really changed the complexion of the game. Giving them a mobile option at ground level, and still Miller is able to go with Thornton. Just a matter of how long Adrian Code can go in there for. Certainly capable of playing his part in the ruck, but maybe not for all that long, as Whelan comes out to Rogerson. Rogerson's got it inside defensive 50 for the Bloods. 23 gone in the third term. They've kicked 4 goals in the term. Sandhurst only the 1. Rogerson comes down the line. Miller flies. Montague and Torpy collide. Good contest from young Braden Torpy. And we'll have a throw in right in front of us. Sky's darkening here at the QEO. And the loser of today's games, well, their finals propositions will certainly darken. And it's like Collins to go up in the ruck against Code here, Johnny.
Let's see how he goes. I'll tell you, it's hot in the kitchen at the moment. It might be cool out in the ground, but as finals berth is on the cards here, Collins, hands and knees, did well, but Wow, Rogerson puts it over the top. He was looking for Miller off half-back, kicks it into the middle of the ground, bouncing footy. Holmes just bustled into the pack there. Good work. Ended up there with Alex Wharton. His kick was smothered. Through the middle, Green, hand pass. That was okay. Coughlin, this is Johnny. He'll go wide. Long ball, intercepting mark there by Harvey. And off half-back, he'll just slow it down and go over the top by foot and finds Rogerson.
So Rogerson at the back point of the centre square. Gee, kick short, looking for a teammate there who just took it a little bit too easily in McGee. Eventually the ball spills free. Leroy Miller went to ground on the outer side wing. Sandhurst have the numbers. East back towards half forward. Miller and Coughlin. Lee Coughlin did well, then got around Code. Ran to 60, pushed off his kick inside the forward 50. McKinley can't collect. Belnaves comes out. He can't scoop it up. McKinley goes back in on top of the football. Handball to Minari. 70 out from goal for the Dragons. Into the pocket, looking for Price and finds him.
Ooh.
And then Cody Price dishes out a little bit of punishment, looks to centre it up. Good kick. Joel Wharton has got it. He's a man you cannot leave alone inside forward 50. And he'll be 30 metres out and kick from directly in front. This to steady the ship for Sandhurst. It's fair to say they need it.
Yep. If John talks about a 4-goal breeze, yeah, they probably need this and one more, John.
25 and a half gone in the third term. Wharton yet to kick one this afternoon. Comes in from 35 metres out, left foot kick, pushes it across the face, and the goal-kicking woes continue to rear their head for Sandhurst. 8 goals, 10-58. They are 2-6 since quarter time. The Bloods are 6-8-44. 26 gone third term. That's on the time on clock, thanks to Tindercar on Bendigo's Fresh FM.
Isaiah Miller plays on from full back. He touched it on the boot, then ran and then kicked it long beyond 50. Holmes is there again, and a free kick's going to be awarded to that man Holmes. Holmes, a long ball into the hot spot. Price is there, an unusual position for him. The Bloods are under pressure now. Still 20 out from goal. They just swarm on top of the football. Umpire crosses his arm, blows his whistle and says, I'm going to throw it up. And we've got another blood rule. It'll be Holmes, I think, coming off. And it is.
Yes, he might have a blood nose again as he had in the first quarter.
Yeah. Now, Dolly, bad kicking is bad footy. This could haunt the Dragons.
Yep. Well, certainly the Thornton miss. I said at the time it may well be the turning point. And, of course, South got that bit of a run on. And, yeah, normally Wharton, you would usually mark that in your book as a goal. So
let me set this up for you right now. We're 20 metres out, directly in front. City end. Dragons are doing the attacking. They've been under pressure against the wind. South Bendigo have come through. Alex Code, the work that he's been done. Is it Alex? I don't know. Adrian. There you go. Who's Alex Code? He plays for Castlemaine. There you go. And we'll have another ball up, Joel. And it's 30 metres out. And let's see what the Dragons can do here. 58 playing 44.
Still 20 out from their goal. Thornton, Code over the top. Thornton out of the ruck, snaps on goal. Won't get there. Out of bounds on the full.
It's a great effort, though, by Thornton.
Absolutely.
The finish wasn't that great, but to win the ball was terrific.
Oh, Nolder plays on dangerously. Gee, that's a good mark from Howe under pressure, then has to retreat, try and find an option at half-back, which he does, and Hare was really nervous stuff from the Bloods there for a few seconds. Hare's got it. Inside the defensive 50, kicks down the wing looking for Miller, thumped away by Ireland across the line, and it'll be thrown back in centre wing on the outer side of the ground. Sandhurst 8-10, the Bloods 6-8. 28 gone in this third term on the time on clock. Thanks to Tindercar, with the skies still darkening, almost lights time here at the QEO.
Yeah, and Hare again dives in after that football. A late inclusion today for Strawn. Let's be honest, Strawn is never going to play. Umpire, well, not with a moon boot, you wouldn't think. Maybe kick straight with one of those moon boots on.
Almost have to buy a moon boot factory, South. They've got about 4 or 5 players that have utilised them throughout the season.
70 out from goal. It's a ball up. Shark by Collins, who will go around the body or put it in the forward pocket, looking for Lee Coughlin. Offering support there is Oscar McKinley as it tracks towards the boundary line, 15 metres out from goal. We'll have a throw in as it tumbles over the line. One
we haven't talked about too much would be Jaden Sheehan, who's done a good job on Lee Coughlin since he went forward in this game. Instead of second and third quarter, he's held Lee Coughlin quite well.
Done extremely well as the umpire will fire it back in. Deep into the forward zone for the Dragons. Code again, he's against Thornton. Thornton won the tap. Minari then tried to grab the football as it tracks towards the line and it tumbles over again. So 10 metres out from goal, deep into the forward pocket, scoreboard end. in front of that scoreboard that reads 8:10:58, the Dragons, 6:8:44, and it must be almost three-quarter time here at the QEO.
Yes, South could do less than let a goal through now.
Can't be too long left. In fact, it's just about going to be siren time. Collins went through there, couldn't take it, then got it on hands and knees from Coughlin. They need to hold up here, the Bloods' defence. Sheehan, good tackle, another ball up 35 metres out from goal. Whelan now calls for reinforcements and gestures frenetically toward his half forwards. Still 35 out from the Dragons' goal. Still they press. Thornton down in the ruck. Howe held off it. No free kick. Handball comes out to Connaughton, who went through the pack, taken without the football. Again, no free kick. Now to O'Sullivan for the Dragons, who hoists a long, high ball. Luke O'Sullivan. A super kick on the right boot from 51. The full back steps up to the plate, hits a home run, and that is exactly what South didn't want. Margin 20 points at the 30-minute mark of the third term. The Dragons 64, the Bloods 44. On Bendigo's Fresh FM, that's thanks to Aussie Disposals. Another contender for goal of the day, Dolly.
It was a terrific goal, and it was a tricky one for South. They're calling numbers to get back and help, but of course if you win the ball in the back half and just kick it out, well, Sandhurst guys are there by themselves, but great teamwork by Sandhurst to set that one up, and a really good finish.
It'll also show South Bendigo that there's still plenty of breeze out there to work with in the last quarter.
Yep.
The time on clock, thanks to Tindakar, is ticking towards 31 minutes, so it's an extremely long quarter. Bartels for the Bloods. He'll now send it wide to Miller. Miller inside forward 50. Is there enough time? Bouncing footy. Dragons, you need to jump on this ball and just hold it up, because we're approaching into 31 minutes now as the umpire blows his whistle, crosses his arm. 48 from 48 from goal directly in front.
Goal sore and coming off
street. I reckon it just got a bit of a stinger there. Up they go in the ruck. Watson wins the tap to a pack that forms at ground level, and we'll have another throw in. So the Dragons just need to get the football and maintain possession, because they can't afford to give one up here. They've just managed to swing the momentum back their way. Took quite a while. Code now jumps high, jumps and did extremely well to ground level. Shark boy Connaughton will have a shot at goal. They need it and don't get it. Jeez. 6:9:45 Bloods. Dragons 9:10:64. 31 minutes and 40 seconds in the third, thanks to Aussie Disposals, as we take you inside local sport on Bendigo's Fresh FM.
The East was just about to gain as much territory as he could. The siren beat him, and the miss from Aaron Connaughton just shows you what could have been for South Bendigo. But at three-quarter time, we have an absolute clinker on our hands. The winner, well, more than likely, can put themselves in very much the box seat, pole position. It's just about leading the last lap going into the final turn towards the finals race. And it's Sandhurst who have the advantage after three quarters. 9:10:64 the Dragons, the Bloods 6:9:45. 1 quarter to go. South Bendigo coming home with the breeze. It's going to be a ripper. Stay with us. In a moment we continue with more live and direct local footy on Bendigo's Fresh FM. Also have goals for the Dragons. For the Bloods, it's Wright, Miller, Bartels, Brereton and Whelan who have the goals to three-quarter time. Johnny, quickly, better players for the Dragons to three-quarter time?
Well, only a couple in that third term, Lee Coughlin and Joel Wharton. All the rest of them went missing from the first half.
For the Bloods, Dolly?
Code was brilliant that quarter, moved into the ruck. Brereton playing really well, and Liam Bartels.
Well, he stayed there, Adrian Code, and now it's last roll of the dice side for both of these sides in season 2017. Finals on the line in this last term, and Sandhurst have a 19-point advantage as we started off. The Bloods come forward off the boot of Whelan. Alex Wharton gives chase, is brought to ground and a ball up at centre-half forward for South Bendigo. The rain has stopped, but he sents only momentarily. Still plenty of breeze, and the Bloods are kicking with it here in this final term. Watson up over Code this time, wins it down. Connaughton tries to get a kick away. Watson gets it at ground level, shovels it out to Holmes, who tumbles it towards half forward. Held off it was Green, no free, but Collins was good enough to get around on the left foot and kick it inside the 50 for the Dragons. Good defensive mark though was taken well by Miller. for South Bendigo. Cody Price playing out of the goal square again in this term for Sandhurst, and Miller sends it out wide for the Bloods.
Yeah, it's a long ball. It was in the direction there of Big Bear Thornton, who couldn't put his hands on it. In fact, it was Watson. Diving in after footy was Ross. Offered support was East. East handball poor to Blair Holmes. East picks it back up again. He offered support and give it to Lee Coughlin. Lee Coughlin now turns around the corner and goes quickly into the forward 50. Looking for Collins, also Green. Collins is good enough. Picks it up. Spins again. He's going to get out. Oh, it's a throw over his shoulder. Umpire let it go. In the direction of Green. 48 out. He's got one too high, I reckon. He has. And it was just unfortunate the South Bendigo player in code went over the shoulder, just slipped around his neck. And Green, too far out to score. He'll go short. It's a poor kick to Lee Coughlin. Coughlin now, a ball off the side of the boot into the hot spot. They fly. No hands on the footy, however. It just comes to ground level. They dive in after it, and a ball up 30 out from goal. 64 playing 45. Sandhurst, they are kicking against the breeze, but it's in their forward zone on Bendigo's Fresh FM.
You can sense the urgency from both sides in the early stages. Thornton over the back toward Holmes, pushed off it, picked up by Bartels, who slams it outside the defensive 50 to the late hero O'Sullivan, who kicked an all-important goal in that third term for the Dragons. Goes short to Green, who gets on the left inside the forward 50, and a very poor kick is cut off by Liam Bartels in defence for the Bloods. So they need to come back the other way in transition here, South Bendigo. It's a high dump ball down the line from Bartels. He doesn't have really anyone to sit under it. Torpy will rove it at ground level and try and gain some ground. He paddles it forward, and just forward of centre wing on the grandstand side, the ball will be thrown back in. South into attack. They're kicking to the city end in this final term. The margin's still 19 points as it was at three-quarter time.
They need to remain brave here, the Bloods. They need to put it through the corridor, and they need to kick it long, and they need this man Code, who just got a push, allowed to go on with it. East, though, he was strong. Oh, dispossessed. Bartels did well. Bartels is having no influence here. He's 75 out from goal. Just get it long and get it strong. The wind is there. He does. It comes off the side of the boot. Let's see how they go. Up they fly in the ruck. Good work at ground level was Highwood. He goes around the corner. It goes across the face. Dole there. Slaps it into his direction. Picks it up. He's good enough. A little bit of an awkward handball. Under pressure here. You can sense it from the Dragons. They need to push it over the line. In fact, they dive on it and umpire will throw it up. Underneath the scoreboard, 64, playing 45. Bloods need a chance here. It's only 3.5 in the last. They've got plenty of time, and they have the win, Joel Peterson.
Dole limping away from the contest again. Watson slaps it down, back towards the corridor. Coming through there and doing well was Connaughton for the Bloods, who had to shovel it out toward Whelan, who was gang tackled, couldn't get rid of it. Holmes appeals, nothing coming. Ball at 49 out at left half forward. Neither side able to break this early deadlock. It's good, fast, fierce stuff on Bendigo's Fresh FM. 4 gone last term. Bartels rips his way through the contest. Got rid of it somehow to Whelan, working in the scoreboard pocket. Back to Bartels, around the body, snaps towards goal. Torpy gets there. It's thumped through by O'Sullivan, and the margin is an even 3 kicks. 9-10 Sandhurst, 6-10 South. 4 gone last term, thanks to Aussie Disposals.
Pressing Dolly, aren't they? They need to convert on the scoreboard.
They are pressing. Third quarter, they were finding targets in their forward 50. So far, haven't been able to do it.
East comes short to O'Sullivan. Broadcast side. Short to Zimmer by foot, who marks it in his defensive zone. 50 out from goal. He'll go dangerously into the corridor, but it was okay to Ireland. Ireland still deep in his defensive zone. Only 30 metres from the opposition goal. Plays on. He'll send it wide, looking for Collins, who's on right half back. Now Collins, he's looking to move it quickly. He'll have Roots if he wants him, ignores him, steps around a player. Geez, he's smooth mover. He comes into the middle. Bit of a push in the middle, umpire let it allowed to go on. Couldn't pick up the footy there was Sheens, but it's Holmes. Oh, a fumbling ball. Somehow ended up there with Wharton. That's Joel. Over to Lee. Coughlin has a shot at goal and misses. They needed it. Dragons 9-11-65, Bloods 6-10-46, 5 in the last, thanks to Aussie Disposals on Bendigo's Fresh FM.
Not a great couple of minutes from the Coughlin boys. John with the biggest dive you've ever seen, and then Leroy misses the kick on goal. At half-back, they fire in. Oh, here's Miller for the Bloods. Just got the handball away. No, he didn't. It's called a throw.
Oh, 50.
Good tackle from Holmes.
No, umpire didn't get sucked in there.
Right. Holmes went to ground as the Sandhurst player pushed Miller into him. So it was industrious, if nothing else, a little bit clever, but it wasn't going to work. And Blair Holmes has got the football. He'll have to kick from 50 into the breeze. He's kicked, well, a couple of spectacular goals this season, but few would be more important to his side than this. It would be the epitome of a captain's goal. He comes inside the 50. It's swinging back. Will it have the legs? It won't. They fly in the square. Good handball away for the Bloods, though. Defensively, they work it out calmly. And Miller takes the football and centres it up to Bartels.
Into the corridor. He was dispossessed, and rightly so. Rightly so. A free kick has been paid to Sandhurst. Will go to Oscar McKinley. He was out for a moment, and then he didn't correctly dispose of the ball. It was half dislodged and half a drop, but doesn't matter.
He takes it on, but sometimes just needs to find that correct option.
Important ball. Oscar McKinley on the left. He starts it wide, swings and doesn't make the distance right to the line. And they see it over for a minor score. Exciting stuff here.
That was a great kick.
Wasn't it? What?
Yep.
9-12-66 Dragons. Blood 6-10-46. 7 in the last on Bendigo's Fresh FM.
So the Bloods in the back pocket through Hare. Need to get it outside this defensive 50 and release this Sandhurst clamp. Good kick from Miller. Nolder takes a bounce, runs outside the defensive 50, kicks down the line for Torpy. Ross there first, sees it across the boundary, throw in centre wing grandstand side.
South need to go more direct. No point going to the wings.
No.
Kicking it to players who haven't been much of a chance in contests all day.
Yep.
It's not going to work now. Ball thrown back into play. Code and Watson to do the ruck duties. Grandstand side centre wing. Code thumps it forward for the Bloods. Here is Torpy. Attacked the footy hard, then copped one high. Umpire on the wrong side of the contest didn't see it. And we're going to have a ball up between wing and half forward, about 75 metres out from the Bloods' goal. A trail by 20 points. 8 gone last term on Bendigo's Fresh FM.
Code again wins the tap in the direction of Miller. They don't win the ball overall, though. End up with Green. Green a handball to a pack looking for Holmes. Couldn't grab it. Oh, a lot of players on top of this footy. They all dive in on the top of it. And got to love the endeavour.
Yeah, going to feel as though there's a fair few sore players out there. And they'll be battered and bruised this evening, won't they? It's been a physical contest.
Alex Wharton at the bottom of the pack just stands up gingerly. 70 out from goal. Watson wins the tap in the direction of Holmes, but he sees it safely over the boundary
In the
line.
HDFL, Johnny, Matt Perry has just kicked his 100th goal for the season for Leachfield
Great
Gunbower.
effort.
So his 7th 100 goals. Apparently, according to Wayne Smith, too cold for the crowd to even run out and celebrate. But well done to Matt Perry.
He alive at the QEO. Dragons by 20 points in a game that's extremely important for the dynamics of the season, as Minari at the bottom of the pack is all bound up by Blair Whelan. 9-12-66 the Dragons, the Bloods 6-10-46, 70 out from goal. It is the Bloods that are doing the attacking.
Again, the game just slows down. Code wins it down this time. Trying to bustle his way through the contest. Bartels can't come away with it. Ball up. Still across half forward for the Bloods. Still in front of our broadcast position, and still they try and seek to cut back this 20-point margin. Tap towards the boundary line now. Minari puts his head over it, dislodged over the line, and it will be thrown back into play as Brody Montague receives some treatment off the ball.
On the beak.
Hit on the schnoz. And again, still at right half forward, Johnny. Ball has not moved in about a minute and a half. This time it's thrown back in.
I'll see if I can get it away here for you, Joel. Code tapped in the direction of his goals, but no one is there except Montague for the Dragons, who banged it on the boot quickly. Just went up to the wing and it was lucky to stay in, bounced over the line. So we'll have a throw in. True centre wing position, broadcast side. It is the Dragons by 20 points, but the Bloods, they've got a 4-goal wind up their ginger. Let's see what they can do. It is Wheeler now for the Bloods. Bangs it on the boot quickly into the corridor, up forward, comes off hands, 30 out, all squared up. There was Torpy, couldn't pick it up. Still 30 out from goal. Ireland did well for the Dragons. By hand to Watson, he's in trouble. Didn't get rid of it effectively. Still 30 out from goal. Bloods, no, it's the Dragons. Ground level, Collins, handball to a teammate. That was okay. Now bangs it long beyond 50, but it is Whelan. He'll send it deep inside to the hot spot. Up they fly. A mark has been taken by Brad Wright. 20 out from goal on a pretty tight angle, and he needs to kick it there, Dolly.
He does. Yep. He kicks this goal and he'll probably say I should have been playing forward all of my career.
And well done from Torpy too, just held the space for him beautifully.
Yep.
He's only 1 or 2 metres out from the boundary line in the rifle pocket, kicking to the city end. Let's see what he does with this football. Wouldn't this give the Bloods a lift? In he comes, and it pops it through.
Yep.
Oh, they all just watched just to see what would happen, and the ball did its work, and that's his second. So here come the Bloods.
Yep.
7-10-52. The Dragons 9-12-66. 11 in the last. Thanks to Aussie Disposals as we take you inside local sport on Bendigo's Fresh FM.
Yes, and it was good composure there by Blair Whelan. He just set the ball up nicely. Knew he couldn't make the distance. Set the ball up for his teammates to make a run and jump at it. Brad Wright did that and then made no mistake. That should give South Bendigo the impetus to continue burrowing in as they have been and get right back into this match.
They pride themselves on the ability to run out games. Let's see what they can do with this. And now a block out of the ruck contest. He's going to go the way of Code. Surprise, surprise, the Sandhurst fans aren't happy. Code drives it long inside the forward 50. Highwood on the lead. Oh, couldn't quite mark. Should have gobbled it up. O'Sullivan has it for the Dragons, but he turns it over, coming outside the 50. Miller to the pocket, right again. Mark, goal!
No, push.
Push.
It is going to be a push. He throws the head back, Brad Wright. And you'd imagine that a lot of South Bendigo supporters had that same reaction. It is a free kick on the last line to Arthur Rootsey of the Dragons. And he seeks to gain some territory, kicks toward Watson. Code fists it away, thrown in left half forward for the Dragons.
Yes, unlucky right there. I thought he'd used his body well, made position and ran back onto a loose ball.
Wayne Primer, clearly the phone's not working. Wayne Primer's had to come down and pass a message on himself. He's walked out of the coach's box.
Probably a nervous man at the moment too, Joel, I'd imagine. As Bartels picks it up, he slips it wide to a teammate who'll bang it long. It'll go to the line. It's a goal! It's Blair Whelan who's popped it through. Well, that's his second. And I tell you what, the Bloods, they are coming 8-10-58. Sandhurst to 9-12-66, 13 in the last. Thanks to Kangaroo Flat Storage as we take you inside local sport on Bendigo's Fresh FM and Dolly. The bag has been picked up, the contents have been tipped out on the bench, and we've opened a new bag.
We have, probably for 11 minutes there, South really didn't look like getting a goal. All of a sudden the game, again, it's changed and they got the momentum, and as Norm said a moment ago, they've got the impetus. Win it out of the middle here, and they could be in, well, they're still 8 points behind, but right in it.
Now Watson comes off the ground and Thornton goes into the ruck, so the game gets more interesting. Thornton wins it down. Collins, he doesn't have the big man to kick to though, so he handballs back out wide to Montague, who kicks it toward half forward for John Coughlin. Good mark in front of Hindle. Dragons 55 metres out from goal at right half forward, as Wayne Primer passes instructions to his men in an unfamiliar position down on the bench. Senses the urgency. And now the kick towards goal came from Coughlin, but Whelan, the goal kicker, in the last occasion gets back there to cut it off. Switches it defensively and finds Bartels.
Bartels deep in the back pocket, will bring it to the broadcast side. He'll dump it beyond 50. He'll be looking for the big man in Leroy Miller. Flew high, flew early, come off hands, and we'll have another throw in. Good work by Lockie Ross, it looks like. Gets up gingerly, but just shakes it off, and he's probably hasn't got a lot of run in his legs. He hasn't played a lot of footy, has he? As the ball, true centre wing position. Let's see what happens here with Thornton and Code, who's been absolutely super. He wins the tap, couldn't quite get it in the direction of Rogerson, who was at the bottom of the pack. And we'll have another ball up as the umpire blows his whistle.
Terrific coaching from Brady Childs, Stoley, to throw Adrian Code into the middle.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, a great move. Probably at half-time thinking, well, we've been beaten in the ruck. And yeah, Cody hasn't let him down so far.
Oh, a secondary bounce here, a ball up, and
close to the dangerous tackle as you'll get, I'd imagine.
8 point margin here,
yes,
Joel.
That probably should have been a free to South then.
True centre wing, 66 playing 58. South Bendigo have got the breeze, and they will have the lead later on the game if they keep this up.
Thornton goes up, wins it down. John Coughlin roves it, gets it out to Montague. Low ball to half forward, knocked away from Warden, but the Dragons still give chase. Minari at half forward, picks the footy up, runs inside the forward 50, delivers to the pocket for Price. Had it knocked away from him by Belnaves, who goes to ground, shovels the football out. Joel Wharton's there in the area, runs onto it, paddles it on and kicks the goal. Wharton worked hard, and was able to get back on top of the footy, 20 out, steady, and find the opening margin back to 14 points. 10-12-72 Sandhurst, 8-10-58 the Bloods. 16 gone last term on Bendigo's Fresh FM.
An opportunist goal if ever there was one. You know, the handball out into space and he onto it. Very quick kick. Doesn't miss too often.
And when he's missed a couple today, it makes it all the more important when he does get one.
Yeah, exactly.
If you've got the pot belly fire going in the man cave here for the next 15 minutes, do not go anywhere.
Yeah,
Crack another can. Strap yourself in, grab another can, and just listen to this big action here as the season is on the line here for the Dragons. They just got another goal as a secondary bounce in the middle.
On the line for both of them, Johnny, it's basically the winner of this game will probably play finals.
Thornton in the ruck now, won the tap. We've got a whistle on play. It's a hold. It'll go to the Bloods. Bartels, he's being super. He'll have this ball. Now you'll need to kick it long. Look for Leroy Miller. No, he decides to ignore that lead. He tries. It's a bit of a mongrel punt kick into forward 50. Looking for Johnson. Only got one hand on the ball. But now Rootsy. He goes short. Finds a teammate in Coughlin. This is Johnny Coughlin. With the ball across half back, he'll send it wide, looking for Montague to the wing. Broadcast side, Montague lets it bounce. He'll let it go over, and cleverly does. Oh no, it didn't in fact. Good work there by Torpy. Torpy picked it up, and is it out of bounds on the full?
No, hit him on the hip.
Hit him on the hip, and we'll now have another throw in directly in front of us on right half forward. The Bloods are 58, trailing the Dragons 72.
So Wayne Primmer, who hasn't coached from the bench in all of 2 years at Sandhurst, he's pacing the sideline at the moment. His team up by 14 points. Coughlin went through the contest, just got it away. Then to John Coughlin, who thumps it up the line. Gee, Sheehan flew high, nearly took what was a very good mark. Hare goes in, tackled by Wharton. Ball up, centre wing, grandstand side. 10-12-72 Sandhurst, 8-10-58 South Bendigo. Desperation stakes for both sides. Joel Peterson, John Hunter, Nathan Dolan, Norm Jenkin with you on Bendigo's Fresh FM. Code down again. Miller gets it forward for the Bloods. Collins gives chase, seeks the safety of the boundary line and finds it between the wing and half forward on the grandstand side.
Got a sore Cody Price on the bench as well. Looks like he's holding his shoulder.
Yep, spent a lot of time forward today as Cody Price. Just haven't been able to get him in the game, the Dragons.
Umpire fires it back in. Up they go in the ruck. Code wins it. He tried to soccer it out of the air. It was a dangerous kick. And the umpire is going to pay it against Code.
Yes.
I probably should have let that go with what I sensed, but he didn't.
Those not paid plenty.
Montague, an awkward kick that was low. It was in the direction of Wharton, but it was safe. He marked us on the chest, on the wing, broadcast side. Umpire will invite him to play on because he's taking his time. He does. A long, high ball. Holmes is in the direction. Big punch over the top. Balnaves for the Bloods, and we'll have another throw in. Left half forward for the Dragons. They are doing their attacking. Still 72, playing 58. The Bloods need another one quickly because we've got 19-minute mark on the clock.
It's almost petrol in the tank from here, Dolly, isn't it?
It is. It's just, again, work rate.
Yep.
Is the most important thing.
Who can run it out stronger? Whelan collects a bouncing ball at half-back for the Bloods. Clever handball to Balnaves. Here they go, South Bendigo. Balnaves to Bartels to Rogerson, who goes inside the 50 for Wright. Brad Wright marks 40 out directly in front. Super stoppage work from South Bendigo, Norm.
It was there, and it's not the first time in his career that Wright's been put forward and kicked a number of goals to help South Bendigo
a couple of weeks ago.
A couple of weeks ago he got 7, and usually a very good kick at goal, and if he can put this one through, it's game on again. 2
already today for Brad Wright, and as we tick into time on, this kick is very important. From 48 metres out, it slides across to the right. It's one behind. It's going to be 50.
Gee.
So there's an encroachment on the mark from the kick, and it will be a certain Sandhurst goal from the top of the square. So it's gone from a 45-metre shot to a 10-metre shot directly in front. Wright will get his third, and the margin will be 8 points as we tick into time on, thanks to Tindakar.
Yes, players have got to realise that when you mark the ground, make sure the umpire knows what you've done.
So Wright kicks the goal. His teammates rush to him. And the margin is back to 8 points, 20 and a half gone in the final term, thanks to Choices Flooring, Bendigo Bulk Carpets, and that is a big blow for the Dragons, Dolly.
Big blow for the Dragons. I mean, Wright missed the first shot, but again gets an opportunity, but leading well. He's not the fastest player out on the field, but he had 5 or 6 metres on his opponent then leading.
So hard to stop that ball movement too.
Yep. And probably, as Norman was saying, from the sort of the clearance, they were able to get the ball forward. Young Balnose, he doesn't get a lot of the ball, but when he does, he usually sets things up fairly well for them.
Been good today. They've thrown him down back on Cody Price, and he's been more than serviceable, Carl Balnose.
Yep. I don't think you would have played back line too often in senior footy.
He's now back in the forward line, and
so they've thrown Cody Price back there to just try and solidify things here, the Dragons, and well, Wayne Primer's one of those coaches that always has a move or two for everything, and they need one here.
It's good to see Santa behind the goals. He's been retrieving the ball a fair bit throughout the game.
It's look like my beard there, Dolly. We are into time on here, thanks to Tintercar on the time on clock. Bendigo's Fresh FM. It promised to deliver this game, and it has, and it's not over yet. Let's see what we can do. 64 playing 72. The Bloods kicking to the city end. They've got the win. But Lee Coughlin for the Dragons. He's not going to have a bar of it. He kicks it long inside forward 50. They scream for a free kick.
Free kick.
And it will be one for a hold for the Dragons. The free kick will go to the way. Is it Wharton there? McKinley, he let the umpire know that it was there.
Yeah, well, it was there. That was a clear free kick.
This is a difficult kick too, Joel, because
he hasn't kicked it well today, Johnny.
No, and the windsock is dancing around. Strong wind he's kicking into. He'll have to start it left and let it swing, but he doesn't. He puts it through the middle. Well, they needed that. The Dragons, that's his second. 11-12, 78. The Bloods 9-10, 64. 23 minutes on the time on clock, thanks to Tintercar, as we take you inside local sport on Bendigo's Fresh FM.
And that's come from the centre again. It's been a good move, Thornton going into the centre. Code had been completely on top of Watson. Thornton's gone in there. He's got first hand to ball and given his on ballers the use of it.
Well, before they moved Code into the middle, he was playing on
Thornton
at full back.
And had done a very good job.
Been a good duel between the two of them no matter where they've been. Advantage Dragons back in the middle. Miller chases after the football. East gets there for Sandhurst. Wheels around in the arc. Code smothers it though. He'll have a chance to pick it up here too. Adrian Code gets to half forward, absorbs a bit of contact, goes to ground, as does Thornton. Belnaves tackles. Ball spills free eventually. And then he's locked up at centre half forward for South Bendigo. 14 points the margin, 23 and a half gone last term on the time on clock thanks to Tindercar. The winner, just about the certainty to play finals in season 2017. Bartels through the contest did well. Hare tumbled it inside forward 50. 20 out from the Bloods goal. Ross goes up. Wharton taken high. No. Brought to ground. Ball up. 20 out from the South Bendigo goal.
Yeah, Wharton buckled at the knees then. I think the umpire saw that and called play on.
30 out, directly in front. The Bloods need a goal here. They need a couple in a hurry. Nothing to be dared here. They need it as a contest, ground level. A lot of players around this football.
Free
Gonski.
kick.
It's going to be a free kick to the Bloods. What did you see there, Joel?
Yeah, it was, might have been...
It's Rogerson with the ball, isn't it?
Yeah, one of the Sandhurst players. I think it was Rootsy, went through the contest. He tried to evade the first tackle, then got tackled and had the ball knocked out. So, clear free kick.
Must kick this goal, Rogerson. If the Bloods are to win this game, let's see what he does. Directly in front, City in with a breeze right up his back, kicks it. Well, we're not done with yet. The Bloods 10-10-70. They are trailing 11-12-78. It is deep into time on, thanks to Tindercar. The time on clock says 25 minutes as we take you inside local sport on Bendigo's Fresh FM.
And this will be a crucial centre bounce this time. South Bendigo, if they're to win this game, they've got to nullify Sandhurst in the centre and get the ball into their forward 50, and from there they've got to make the most of any opportunity they get.
First goal for Mitch Rogerson, been brilliant today, and that was a very, very timely one for the Bloods as the ball is brought back to the middle. Probably adds another 30 seconds to time on. We've already lost just about a minute in this term with the ball going over the fence, and just gives everyone a breather, which at this stage of the game, Dolly, they very much need.
Oh, I'm out of puff.
Just
I haven't
watching.
even played. I'm watching.
It's been a real heart starter this afternoon. Back in the middle. Bartels roves the Thornton tap. Holmes goes through. He's upended. Good tackle, though, from Collins on Liam Bartels. The two former LVFL combatants pick themselves up, and we'll do it all again. Still in the centre of the QEO. Code up against Thornton. Code the second tap. Got it forward, but it's kicked back the other way by Ross for the Dragons. Now the Bloods with a chance through Howe to Miller. Across half-back. Terrific tackle from Holmes. And the Dragons skipper's pressure comes up big again. And they fly in off the bench with a couple of injury concerns. Holmes' kick across the ground was dangerous, but Coughlin did well to mark. John Coughlin on the front edge of the centre square. Looks for an option inside the 50. Has McKinley deep and Wharton in the pocket. Wants to hold it up and now goes long inside the right forward pocket, and Wharton just gets there. 48 metres out, Joel Wharton. Umpire brings back Jake Miller. A couple of paces on the mark. In the right forward pocket, the Sam Mildren pocket, Joel Wharton will go back and at least think about taking his kick. He's got the journey in him, maybe not back into the breeze that's proved tricky this afternoon. At the 27-minute mark of the final term, Wharton comes in, he unloads to the top of the square, they fly, McKinley's up, free kick Dragons. Free kick Dragons, and that is the ball game. Matt Thornton will take it, 15 out, directly in front. This kick is for the finals for Sandhurst, just about. They've got to take care of business in the run home, and Thornton's got to take care of business from the top of his mark. He comes in from 20 metres. He puts it onto Barnard Street. And he's put the Dragons in the box seat for September. Sandhurst's margin is 14 points at the 28-minute mark of the last. Thornton kicks his second. And it's a big blow to South, Dolly.
Massive blow to South, but well done, Matty Thornton. I mean, he had that kick in the third quarter and missed. That one there, he probably would have been feeling the pressure. But again, centre clearance has made a big difference. I like Coughlin's kick where he put it out in front of Wharton, made the forward run to get the ball rather than kicking it straight at him.
28 minutes in the last. Sandhurst will play finals. They have Maryborough, they have Kangaroo Flat, they have Castlemaine. So unless it was an absolute shocker for the next month, we will see them in September at the QEO. Good game it is. It probably killed the Bloods the first quarter where the Dragons got away with it. It's back in the middle here. Holmes did some good hard work as the ball will be thrown up again by the umpire. 14-point margin. Thanks to Tindercar and the time on clock, it is almost 29 minutes. Thornton does the ruck work, as Code. Code's been absolutely super. It's Connaughton now. He'll go long and strong, deep into the forward line, looking for Leroy Miller. It bounces to the back of the pack. Swooped on there by Jaden Sheen, who pops it through. He pops it through, so the Bloods go to 11-10-76, trailing 12-12-84. 29 minutes have gone in the last, thanks to Aussie Disposals, as we take you inside local sport on Bendigo's Fresh FM.
Yes, once again, the centre bounce went Sandhurst's way for starters, but South worked hard. They got the ball forward and they made the most of it. They had somebody behind the pack was able to run on to a loose football and make the most of it. And what they do is they need another centre clearance just as quick this time.
Yep.
And we've got a 2-point ball game and anything could happen.
And then the same thing twice. So still 2 kicks in this game. Back in the middle they go from the restart. Thornton wins it down. Bartels gives chase. Been so good this afternoon. He's locked up and a ball up. So in the centre of the ground, it is really last roll of the dice for the Bloods now. They trail by 8 points as we tick past 30 minutes of time. Thanks to Tindercar. Bartels goes through again. Miller's there for the Bloods. He's held up by Collins and a ball up. Wide open forward line. Every Sandhurst player around the football, and if not, they're in the defensive 50 as they try and stop South Bendigo from getting on a roll late.
Holmes went in hard after that ball up, and he was met heavily, smack bang in the middle of the QEO.
Neither side, physically speaking, is back down this afternoon. It's been a terrific, tough contest.
There'll be some sore boys in the morning, that's for sure, and that's the way it should be this time of the year. Thornton does the ruck work against Code. Connaughton won it, then lost it. Offering support was Whelan, but here come Sandhurst again, picked up by Wharton. That's Joel, puts it on the left into the goal square. Now it's a bouncing footy, under pressure here, the Bloods, only metres out from goal. Let's see what they can do. Call screaming for it, the Sandhurst supporters, for dropping the ball. Contested footy, ground level, 20 metres out. Joel Wharton is there, dives on top of it. Dives on top of a player and will do it with a ball up. Only 20 metres out from goal. And Sandhurst, they might get a late one here. 84 playing 76, 31 minutes have gone. Thanks to Tindakar on Bendigo's Fresh FM.
So Code goes up in the ruck for the Bloods. Holmes goes through. Handballs towards the goal. Crashing through there was Nolder. Holmes from the boundary misses to the left.
Probably what South wanted, really. It's a bonus. They can bomb it from the kick-in.
Yeah.
Just down the middle, Freddie Swift style.
9 points the margin. 12-13 to 11-10. 85 to 76. Sandhurst in charge with 32 minutes gone as the Bloods work it back in towards Howe. It's knocked out of his hands by John Coughlin. In fact, it's going to be a free kick to Howe, who's got it just outside the defensive 50 at half-back.
Yeah, after a drop kick with Freddie Swift there, Dolly.
Yep.
As Howe sends it long up onto the wing. Now we've got a congested bit of play, and neither side have conceded here. It's been an arm wrestle for the whole quarter, if not the whole game, except for that first term where South let them get away, which has been costly. Umpire throws it up, outer side wing. Thornton does the ruck work for the Dragons. Again congested, we'll have another throw up. On right half forward for the Dragons, they'll win this footy game, 85 playing 76. Thanks to Tindakar, 32 and a half minutes in the last on Bendigo's Fresh FM.
Been a valiant fight from the both of them. They go up again, and again it's just bodies everywhere. They're completely out of gas, both sides. And at this stage, it's little more than elementary. 33 minutes gone. Sandhurst by 9 points. They win it down and go inside forward 50. It's going to be a free kick coming to South Bendigo, though. Mitch Rogerson, who's been excellent for them this afternoon, takes the footy from inside his defensive 50. Kicks up the line, looking for Johnston. Can't take the mark. Zimmer's there for the Dragons. Shares it with Rootsy and Ross. And Ross goes out wide to Joel Wharton, who slows proceedings down on centre wing. They're keen to take some air out of the footy now, the Dragons. Wharton's kick short to Coughlin. That was Lee to John. Well, the Dragons have booked their ticket, and they've got 3 weeks left to punch it and make their trip to September. The siren sounds, and Sandhurst win the biggest game of their season. They end a 3-game losing skid. And for South Bendigo, the task to make finals gets desperately tough.